What's up guys, Celestial here again. In this video I'm going to be bringing you basically a full walkthrough of Wuchang, so this video might be a little bit long. I'm going to outline a few tips before we get into anything, but this will essentially go through the weapon locations, the bamboozlings, pretty much the missable endings and stuff that you can do the save scum tactic for. I love this game, but I wouldn't recommend doing 4 playthroughs because the enemies just get tanky as hell. So if you want to do it this way, go for it. If you want to do 4 playthroughs, go for it as well. But I'll outline some tips before we get into this. Okay, the best tip I can give you for this game is abuse the backstab mechanic, because this allows you to cheese so many bosses. Not really cheese, because you're still using your own skill, but you can basically knock an enemy down if it's a light enemy like this, and then do the same thing with a charged heavy, and do this. So you can do this to bosses as well. It doesn't work on bigger bosses, so like humanoid bosses or something round about your size, you can usually do this. And you can't chain it, unfortunately, like you can see here. It is quite slow at the start, but once you actually get the ability, which is here, this ability here called Wind Force, this is in the two-handed sword tree. This is the weapon I would recommend to use because it's the build that I used on the Xbox version when I 100%ed it on there, when it took 4 playthroughs, and on this one when I just did basically 1 playthrough and cheesed the endings. The Wind Force will allow you to actually use the back attack much quicker. It consumes 1 Skyborn Might though, but you get that from dodging or attacking a bunch of times and things like that. So you'll always have at least 1 Skyborn Might at some point. Like I said as well, I used the two-handed sword. You can also use another weapon in tandem. You can either use the axe or you can use the dual blades. That's what I would recommend for some bosses that require you to cheese them a little bit. There is a couple bosses where some of the tactics don't work very well, or they're just tanky, or they do a lot of damage to you. So I'll get to them when we get to them, but dual blades or the axe are usually 2 of the best ones to go for. So first things first, when we start the game, we're going to run into the Reverend Temple, and we're going to come back here a few times, but we're going to talk to this guy. If you want to skip the cutscenes, it'll make it much quicker, but the story of Wuchang is actually quite good. So we're talking to this guy, spam all the dialogue, get out of the way. Then speak to this guy on the opposite side of the same floor. He will give you an item as well. Then go downstairs and talk to this woman, and then talk to the guy next to the door that you exit. This guy here, he'll sell you a lot of things throughout the story as well, so you'll come back to him and another person in certain areas and you give them items. Once we're outside, we grab our first shrine, that'll give you your first trophy. Then you go down the stairs. Then you talk to this guy on the right hand side, he'll put you into a boss fight. It's one of the ones where if you lose it, you just basically get kicked out and you can never do it again. Doesn't affect any trophies or anything. It does give you 5 levels if you manage to do it, but I wouldn't bother wasting your time on it, just let it kill you and move on. Once we've either won or lost the boss fight, we come out to the door that was right next to that guy and grab this item. This is one of the first weapons. This axe is okay, but I wouldn't bother using it. Just stick to the two-handed sword at the moment. It's quick and it does a decent amount of damage with the skills that you already have on it. This slope is just outside the doorway that we came through. This leads to like a young boy that you can talk to. I don't think this affects anything, but just talk to him anyway and exhaust his dialogue. Once you go back down the slope and you carry on kind of the main path, you'll come to this guy over here. This is called He Use I, and he's going to be a common character that you'll speak to. His quest line pretty much dictates the endings as well as some other trophies and things that you need. So make sure you do not miss any of the locations that I tell you about. So once you've spoke to him, he'll give you a cornucopia elixir and a bamboo lantern. After talking to him, follow the path and keep going straight up the hill. Don't take the left path. At the top, you'll find a single enemy with a shield. Kill him and he drops the first jade pendant, which we do need pretty much all of these. They can be very missable. Same with the weapons. So if you miss one really far in, then you're kind of screwed. So make sure you follow along with this, and we should be able to grab pretty much everything at the same time. So as you can see, we're running up the hill here. I'll leave as much in as I possibly can. Like, a lot of the areas can be a little bit confusing. This one's not. This area is pretty straightforward because it is the first part of the game, but this guy will drop the first jade pendant, which is the gourd pendant. So pretty much anytime you get one of these, just equip one. If you have other ones that you want to equip, feel free. I'm not going to tell you what to build for that. There is one thing that I'll tell you to equip later on because it's a really good one for bigger bosses, but this one just equip because you don't have anything anyway. Continuing on the main path, you'll get to this area, and there'll be this woman sitting on this rock right here. This is before you climb the scaffolding. So just make sure you speak to her and exhaust her dialogue. She's also another important NPC that affects the endings, so make sure you speak to her whenever you see her as well. At the top of the scaffolding, you'll get this shrine as well. There is a trophy for collecting every single one of these shrines, so do make sure you do not miss any of them. I'm not sure if you can just pick up the one that you missed, or if you need to do an entire playthrough again to pick them all up, but just don't miss any, because I don't want you missing out on this trophy. When you slide down the ladder next to the shrine and you come kind of walk along this way, you'll get the Vorpal Blade. It's pretty much impossible to miss this. And then you'll fight your first boss, which is actually fairly easy, because you can do the trick that I told you about, where you just go behind its back and do a charged heavy attack. Or if you don't want to do that, you can literally wait until they're just below you and do this, because it does an insane amount of damage. And it will also do the cripple as well. So you're pretty much taking half of their health off with this. This is probably the easiest boss ever in a Souls type game, like a Souls-ish game, because pretty much this enemy is one of the easiest bosses ever. They can still kill you if you're a bit kind of lackluster with your attacks, but as you can see, the spell that you just got does a lot of damage, and then they're pretty much dead from there. You will also get the Skyborn Ward Benediction. These are things you can equip to your weapon. I will sort of tell you a build later on when we get a better weapon. The one that we have at the moment is just the one that you start with, the two-handed or long sword. You can equip a Benediction onto this, or build your own build if you want to, but I will show you one later on that is a lot easier to use and just melts bosses. Once we've killed them on the bottom floor, run over to this exit. This is a dead end, but it does contain a Forgotten Remembrance, which basically allows you to upgrade your mana vase, which is the healing flask in this game. So make sure you pick this up. You'll see these chests throughout the game. Pretty much anytime you find one, it's going to be an upgrade for your vase. Then we're going to head back up to the other exit that's appeared now. Hoping you guys are following along, because this game is quite big, so I'm trying to cut it into like decent sized chunks so you're not watching too much. Most of these areas, like I said, they're kind of self-explanatory, and if there's anything missable, I'll just tell you about it. So this next part is the Lost Package, which is a quest item for Hiyu Zhao, the quest line that we need. It should be this item right here. It's not that item, it should be this one maybe? I think it's this one. There you go. So Lost Package, make sure you pick that up. The next thing is another one of these weapons. Like I said, if you miss these starter weapons, it's not too bad, because when you come and do a New Game Plus, you can pretty much just run through this entire area and grab the weapons that you missed. I actually missed the best axe in the game, but I'm going to point that out before we get to it, because that one is needed for a boss later on to make it far easier. So that's the red tasseled spear. So then we're going to head down here. Once you've come down a lot of the slopes, you'll come to these two enemies try to fire at you. Continue along this path. There will be two monks at the very end, past the pagoda. They'll be guarding a yellow item, which is actually the Entwined Legend Pendant, which is this pendant right here that they're guarding. So pretty much most yellow items that you see will be very useful, or key items. Sometimes they can be like tiny little soul things that you can pop, but just pick up pretty much any yellow thing that you see. Any purple or yellow, make sure you pick up. Just to show you another kind of marker, when you come across this guy with the axe guarding the gate, you can just run past him if you want to. This leads to Light's End Temple, which will also lead to another pendant. So once he's dead, run through the door here, and then when you enter the village, there'll be a house on the left. There will be a yellow item in there, and that will be the monkey pendant. So there's also a yellow item here, as you can see. But kill all these guys just so they don't get in your way. That's the Dark Frost Edge, so another weapon you need to pick up. It is a one-handed sword, however, so if you want to use that, you're going to need to go into a different tree. I would just recommend focusing on the two-handed sword or longsword tree for the moment, because it's a very good sword, especially because it will allow you to parry or counterattack at a certain point. So if we go into this house, there'll be a couple enemies that drop down from the ceiling here, so be careful. They're quite easy to kill, so it doesn't really matter. So just kill these two guys, and then the item on the floor will be the pendant. And like I said, we've only got a few pendants at this point, so just make sure you equip them all. Even if they're not amazing at this point, they're still good to have on. As we progress a little bit further in, this will be the Light's End Temple Shrine, so make sure to pick this up. There'll also be this NPC next to it, so just make sure you help him up, because he's going to be a merchant. Him and the other merchant guy are tied to two trophies, so just make sure you speak to them when you can, and then give them the items that they want, and it'll open up extra inventory, like extra weapons, extra benedictions, extra spells. They're really good. Right, so now we're going to have our first proper boss, but before we do, we're going to get another Lost Remains. So this is it's actually a different item. It comes in the same chest. So you get Lost Remains and Forgotten Remembrance. The Lost Remains increase the potency, the Forgotten Remembrance increases the uses, I think. So yeah, any gold chest like this, just make sure you pick it up. This courtyard also leads into our first boss, which is the man-eating Dutanga. Pretty easy boss fight. Like I said, most of the bosses in this game are fairly easy. There's only a couple that are really tanky. So this guy, he can probably take you out in a few hits if you're not careful. But like I said, you can use the backstab tactic that I showed. So we're going to get into the boss fight just now. You don't need to come to this area. If you want to explore, you can. But the main boss fight's just in front of you. So basically, from the shrine, just head straight. This is where the boss is. So just run straight ahead. And then it'll give you another tutorial, because this game loves its tutorials. Telling you about the charged heavy attacks, which is actually pretty much the most useful thing in this game. You can grab this golden ball just now, or you can grab it on the way out. This is an item for that guy that we just spoke to, where you give him it and he'll give you extra items to buy. So we're going to go through the door and we're going to fight the man-eating Dutanga. I'm going to leave the full boss fight in here just so you can kind of see how it works. I think I do it first try. Right, so here we go, first boss fight. So when you evade as well, you will also get Skyborn Might. So if you've leveled up a couple times by this point and got that ability that I told you about, you can attack his back a lot faster. But at this point, I probably have it, but I don't have Skyborn Might at this point. So you need to either dodge at the right time or do a couple attacks to gain some Skyborn Might. So as you can see, I've only done a couple hits and his health is already like decently chunked. So there we go, we got some Skyborn Might. We did a heavy attack and this does a lot of damage, and you can still attack them while they're trying to get up, which is great. This is going to be useful for the build later on because we do massive damage while they're on the floor. So there you go, dodge, and then heavy attack again. He does transition to like a big fire attack as well, and it burns the whole arena. But he's pretty much dead at this point. It'd been a while since I played this, so I backed up just in case. But most of his stuff, when you can actually get in and do a heavy attack, he's pretty much dead. So heavy attacks are your friend in this game, especially against humanoid enemies. And sometimes it will just stun them like that. It won't always knock them down because you've missed their back. Because the boss will move slightly, or Wuchang will change direction when you're trying to do a heavy attack. But you get used to it. So once we've done that, we get the copper jug, and we also get the trophy for the man-eating Dutanga. Once he's dead, he drops a bunch of stuff like a spell, the key to the temple, all that sort of thing. And it will also teach you about tempering, which is one thing we're going to use a lot later on. You can use it just now. You basically have to make sure it's in your inventory, like where your flask usually is. But you can put on things like this, where it gives you flame, so you can enchant your weapon with fire. And this is very useful for the weapon that we use later on. So once we've done that, we go through the temple. There is one thing we're going to collect here, which is to the right-hand side of the temple near the shrine. So this item here isn't needed for a trophy, I don't believe, but it's good for certain things. So pick it up because we're going to use it as part of like a side quest. It's a dough figurine. This is pretty much right next to the lights in gate. So we're going to open the gate and then we're going to get one of the next collectibles once we're there. So once we open this gate, we're going to be met with one of the bamboozlings, which is another collectible. I didn't get all of these in one playthrough, but it's one of those ones where if you don't get them all and you miss maybe like one or two, you just start a new game and you can get like 2 or 3 quite quick at the start of the game. So I didn't miss this one because it's literally right in your path. So you'll see it run away. Just make sure you're sprinting and then just attack and you'll kill it. And you'll get a bamboo shoot. So these can be used to buy things later on. Not amazing things, but like a spell and like a weapon and some other bits and bobs. So once we've killed that, we're going to continue along the path and we're going to find Nian Suchang. So as we're coming up the path, make sure to speak to this guy. He'll give you the gesture and the bone whistle. The bone whistle can be used to summon characters for actual story missions. So we will be summoning during this playthrough because we need it to actually progress some people's stories. You also get a trophy for summoning as well. Once we spoke to him, progress up a little bit and we'll find the child in the jar. He'll give you the draw circle gesture when you give him the dough figurine that we literally just picked up. So in here, little dough guy on the floor. There he is. Just grab whatever and just speak to him. There we go. Sometimes the talk mechanic in this is a bit weird. It's kind of off-center when you try to speak to people. So you hand over the dough figurine and he'll give you the gesture draw circle. And then we're going to go down the path just outside the door here. Yep, so just leave this house, go down this path. There'll be a couple enemies, but they're pretty easy to take out, as you can see. The good thing is they did change quite a lot about this game, because when I first played this on the Xbox, when I think it came to Game Pass, the enemies pretty much would never stagger from attacks, and that was really annoying, because they would just hit you while you're trying to hit them. So yeah, they've adjusted quite a lot of things and made this game much better. So there will be a bamboozling here, so make sure you run after it. You can kill that thing for aurum feathers as well. Yeah, so this is the one that I missed clearly. So kill that one, make sure you actually kill it. And then when you go in here, this is where the storyteller is. He will give you a bamboo shoot as well. We're going to be speaking to this guy quite a lot during the game. And he is also one of the ones that goes towards the endings. He can lock you out of certain endings if you make the wrong decision. But I will tell you when those decisions are going to be made. At this point, you just talk to him normally. And then the panda merchant will literally be up the stairs. He has a steam-powered spear that we want to buy and divine ward. But that requires 3 bamboo shoots. You might have enough to buy them at this point, but if not, just come back. So yeah, just up the stairs, the panda. You should only be able to buy the spear, really. We'll come back for the other one. Plus, we find him in different locations, so don't worry too much about farming for the items that you need. Just get the spear and then head off. We're going to backtrack to the child's house, and we're going to go up the slope from here. This will start taking us onto the main path again. This will be a couple strong enemies up ahead. They'll drop armor and things for you, and decent amount of souls. I'm just going to call them souls because I can never remember what they're called, Red Mercury or something. So I'll commentate over this area because there's a couple different ways you can go. You can go to the red eye enemy, or you can go the way that I go. So this will take you to the shoe sanctum pretty quickly, I believe. It will also give you a benediction item. So if you go up here, kill these 2 enemies, go to the right hand side, grab the items, go through here, and then you should see an enemy jump out. In this house, this is where a box is that you can open for a benediction. Any benediction is good to have, so make sure you pick it up. Then we're going to run up here, go up the stairs. There might be a couple strong-ish enemies up here, but you can either just run past them or kill them, it's up to you. This should lead us to the next area where there's a bunch of NPCs. So yeah, Shoe Sanctum. We're not actually in the Shoe Sanctum yet. This is where a lot of NPCs appear. But kill these guys and then run up to the Sanctum. There's a couple different ways you can go in here. The other way does take you past the red eye enemy and another area that we're going to go to. But I'll explain that when we get to it. So this is one of the paths you can take. If you take the other path, it's not a big deal. So there's nothing down here. Just progress this way. And the Shoe Sanctum should be on the left hand side as we go past the foggy area. There is a strong enemy here. Drops an upgrade material for your weapon. So if you want to kill it, feel free. They can pretty much take you out in a few hits, so if you want to be safe, go to the Shoe Sanctum and rest at the shrine and then come back. Especially when they do this. If you're close when they do this, they don't stagger and they just absolutely destroy you. There you go, the faint red feathers and radiant feathers and things like that. These are upgrade materials for your swords. They don't... You can reset them, I believe. So if you are going down a path, you can also reset it and go to like a different weapon if you want to try it out. I think that's one of the best things about this game. You're not actually locked into any upgrade tree once you go down a path. If you feel you want to reset the entire tree, you can. If you want to reset a couple like nodes, you can, and things like that. Try other things out. So yeah, it's good. It's good that they've done that. So this is going to tell you about the compass, where you can actually see like on your thing on the bottom right, when it shows the little red triangle on the compass, that's showing you towards like NPCs and shrines and things. So the shrine is literally just inside here. And this is where a bunch of NPCs are. So we've got her. She isn't related to a trophy, I don't believe, but just make sure you speak to every NPC and exhaust their dialogue when you can. Speak to this guy because he's going to want the item that we have. Essentially the 2 different merchants. This guy takes items that you find throughout the world, like the golden bowl that we found near that boss. And the other guy that's just behind us, he takes items that you get from bosses. So it's harder to miss the other guy's stuff because you're going to be killing a lot of bosses anyway and getting all their things automatically. This is the one that you need to worry about for getting all his stuff. But like you can see, he sells benedictions, he sells items, he sells clothing. There's a lot of good things you can buy from him. But then if we turn around, we've got the other guy here. We should be able to give him an item at the moment. If you want to save up all the items and give them all at once, that's up to you. You'll still get the trophy regardless, but he will fill out his inventory, and if you want to try out any other buffs or like benedictions, weapons, anything like that, then you can get them from these guys. So once we spoke to them, you can't actually trigger this yet. You need to beat the boss first. So this is where the shrine is, so just rest at the shrine. This is where you can equip the benedictions as well if you haven't done so already. Because we haven't got a lot, just equip the ones that we do have. And then you can go up the stairs. This will lead to a couple other NPCs that we need to speak to. A very important one as well that does relate to endings and a lot of other trophies. So make sure you speak to this guy as well. So this guy is the white robed elder. We need to speak to him a bunch of times. And then he, spoiler alert, does also become a boss. A very difficult boss as well. But there is a cheese tactic that I can show you guys as well if you struggle with him. So yeah, just make sure you exhaust all the dialogue. Speak to this woman as well. And make sure you give her the item that you got from the pretty start of the game when you spoke to that guy lying on the floor in the first temple. Some of these aren't needed, but you might as well just follow along the way I did it, just to make it easier. So once she spoke to, we're going to go outside the other exit on the temple, and we're going to come down the stairs. Come down 2 flights of stairs and you'll see this blue glow. You'll notice quite a lot of these throughout the game. Some of them are required for key items and things that we need. So when it says pay your respects or something like that, you can use an emote that sort of replicates that. So pay respects would be worship. You can change these emotes as well. And this usually will either give you an item, a key item, a level, things like that. So it's always good to use these. This one doesn't really give you anything good. It gives you this divine gift, which reduces madness, I think. Madness is a mechanic in the game where it actually does allow you to do more damage, but you take more damage. So I abuse that later on. So this is the red eye enemy down here that I told you about. You can sneak up and like hit him in the back if you want to, which will give you like free damage and pretty much almost one-shot him. But I'm an idiot, apparently. But that still allows you enough time to do this. So once he's dead, he will drop a lot of armor, I believe. There you go. Pretty much dead before he even got 2 hits on us. So a lot of stuff. And the red eye enemies also drop a level. So the red mercury essence is essentially 1 full level. So they're always good to kill. So once he's dead, there's a couple things you can do. You can either go left here across the invisible bridge, but we'll come back to that in a second. Or you can do what I do and go back inside the temple and do the first boss that's in here. So from the shrine inside the temple, we're going to go up a few flights of stairs. So up to where the old woman was. Behind this, there's going to be another staircase that goes up again. This will take you to the boss. Make sure you have the whistle equipped in your inventory because we're going to summon here as well. Because we're going to need to speak to this guy after we kill this guy in here. So pick up the bloodstained letter on this corpse because that's also something you'll need. And then we open this and we fight the boss. Pretty easy compared to every other boss as well. He does do a few bits of magic and he can grab you as well. But for the most part, if he goes to slam down, just dodge and then do a heavy attack in his back. And after a couple heavy attacks, he'll be dead. So once he's dead, we'll get a few items. We get the key, we get mercurial blood, we get the priest's broken cane, and we also get the trophy. So then we're going to go down the stairs and we're going to talk to the guy that we just summoned in. We also get a spell as well. So you can't really miss the guy. He's literally next to the shrine that you need to rest at. So just speak to him, go through all the dialogue like you would normally do, and then we're going to continue on. One thing that's a good practice to do, if you go to the shrine and you go to teleport, it will show you pretty much a list of all the places, especially the actual important places like Reverend Temple and Shu Sanctum. It will show you NPCs that you can talk to. So we're going to go back to the Reverend Temple from the start of the game, and we're going to talk to a few NPCs, and then we're going to come back to Shu Sanctum. So just pretty much talk to everybody that's here. Talk to the mute guy, talk to the woman, talk to the guy that we spoke to at the start of the game, talk to the guy standing on the floor, give them all the things that we picked up. So we get a pendant from her because we gave her the letter that we found, and then we're going to speak to pretty much everybody here and then get whatever they give us. So just to make it clear, go inside the temple, speak to everybody in here. You don't need to go anywhere else. You don't need to speak to the kid. Like I said, if you go to the shrine again afterwards and anybody's face is still there on the name tag, make sure you speak to them. But for the most part, you're just going to run inside, speak to everybody, teleport back to Shu Sanctum. Now we're back in Shu Sanctum. This guy's face will be the one that was on there, so you can give him the broken cane. Gives you more items to buy. Like I said, if you don't want to give them all the time, just speak to them and then just go on your merry way. You will also need to speak to this woman right here. Doesn't progress our story at all at the moment because we need to kill another boss. But once we spoke to her, we're just going to activate the temple. So we're going to activate this lever here. This will open up a thing that we're going to go through later, because we don't want to progress too far yet. We've got a few other things we need to do first. So essentially that'll open a pathway right here in front of the temple door. But we're going to ignore that for now. Okay, so if we go back down to where we killed the red eye enemy, so exit the temple again, you'll see this little part right here. This is an invisible bridge, so you can walk across this. Once you've cleared out these enemies, go down the stairs next to them. And this big guy will bust out the house. You can actually do the same back attack shenanigans with him. So if you bait out an attack and then run behind him and don't get flattened like this, you can literally just heavy attack him in the back and he will crumble. And then you can just do all the attacks you want to him. The good thing is there's an item here. It can be bought later if you don't actually get it here. So don't worry too much if you miss it, because you can just buy it from one of the Wuchang shop later on, which is the small guy, I believe. So if we pick up this shouldn't be... Yeah, this is the unequilibrium blades. So these are jewel blades. We haven't actually got these yet. So this is the first jewel blades that you get. And they're decent. There is a cheese tactic that I'll show you later for a boss with a certain jewel blade. Just follow along with me just now, because we're going to go to an area that... This part can be a little bit confusing just with how many doors and like areas there is. So kill these enemies, turn around. And we're going to go straight down here. Ignore this bit. Don't go up here. This is just an empty door at the moment. So we're going to go down this way. And there'll be a bunch of enemies knocking on doors. We want to make sure we kill these ones on the left. And we want to make sure we talk to all the people behind the doors. You'll know there's people behind the door to speak to, because there'll be like a little dot on each door that you can speak to. So you can see one right there in front of the guy. So that door can be spoke to. And they'll give you a courtyard key. Yeah, so like I said, the yellow items can sometimes be other things, so like equipment and things like that. Once we spoke to them, there's going to be a few other people that we need to speak to, and a couple enemies in the way, so make sure to kill these guys, get them out of the way. And one of these guys will give us the key that we need. Skip, 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 skip. There you go. Agree to help. She'll give you the courtyard key, which we need, which is good. Now we're back at the crossroads, so the path to the left would have taken us back to that area where we got the key. But if we go up here, and then ignore that area just now, down to the left, this will take us to the door that opens the courtyard key. So these enemies over here, just make sure they're cleared out of the way, and then open up the door. This is a very good shortcut because it takes us back to Reverend Temple. Once you backtrack on the left and then up a little slope, there'll be this benediction inside here with a couple enemies. And then you backtrack even further up and to the left and you'll come to this other enemy that guards the benediction as well. So we need to make sure we collect pretty much all these. They're not part of a trophy, but they allow you to do certain builds, so make sure you're picking them up. Once you progress further up, there'll be this sort of courtyard area. So literally as soon as you head up the hill, there'll be this area right here. So these are the stairs on the right that we came up. On the left is this courtyard. This can also be used with the courtyard key. On the left, there's a chain door. You don't need to actually go in here, I don't think, because I don't actually think I opened this. Because I was pretty low on health here, so I was just basically doing whatever I needed to do. So you go in there, you can actually get an item called the damaged letter. And also... yeah, it's apparently a quest item, but I never used it, so I don't think you actually need it. But if you have enough health and you don't want to backtrack, left-hand side, chain door, there'll be that quest item in there. So this whole next village section is just basically a bit to waste your time, because there's not really anything decent in here. There is one thing that's a quest item, which is something for a quest that doesn't actually give you any trophies, And then there's the Empyrean Great Axes, but they're past this entire part. So if you want to go onto the rooftops, go onto the rooftops. If you want to run ahead where the guy throws the big rock at you, feel free. But essentially the next part we're going to come to is this. Once you've progressed over the rooftops and everything, you'll fight this guy. He will drop a spell and also the dough figurine of Yang Zongbao, which is a quest item, but it's not one you need. So one thing I will note, this is where I missed one of the axes on my first playthrough. It is probably one of the best items that you will want for a boss later on. So make sure you pick this up. I'll show you exactly where it is because I missed it for some reason. So when we're back in the courtyard with where the bird thing was. So I'll show you the bamboozling first. So from the courtyard, if you look up at the big building, this is the left-hand path. We're going to come through here and we're going to open this door on the left. This will be where the next bamboozling is. This is bamboozling number 3. But like I said, if you miss any, you can get these pretty quickly throughout the rest of the story. It actually adds up. So there'll be one here, but there will be a bunch of enemies. So if you miss it, just reload the checkpoint. It's fine. Apparently I did miss it. So that I was wondering why I was missing 2 bamboozlings when I did this. So yeah, that was the second one that I missed. But yeah, there's quite a lot of these. There's 20 in total throughout the whole story. You need to get all of them. But if you do not get all of them throughout the story, it's not like where you don't get all the shrines. You can literally just go back to new game, kill the first few, and then you've got 20. So don't stress too much if you miss them. Okay, so this is where the weapon that I missed is, and it's one of the best axes, so make sure you get it. So from staring at the courtyard, like where the bird was, right-hand path, come up, and there'll be this door on the right that's open with that enemy that comes out. Climb up here, and then climb up the other ladder. I don't know how I missed this, because the item is literally in front of my face when you come over here. So if you run over to this side of the roof, not here, so like all the way over here, there'll be this red eye enemy here. And this item here that you see on the roof, you probably saw it in the peripheral vision there. The yellow item that's on the edge of the roof, that is the Empyrean Great Axe. And it is pretty much the best axe in the game. You will need that if you want to cheese one of the bosses later on, which is a very tough boss. And if you're doing multiple playthroughs, you will 100% need that because the boss is even more tanky. So make sure you pick the item up. Now that we've done that, if we continue up the path, this is pretty much the main path from where you just saw me. So from the courtyard, just head up one on the left or the right paths, come up here, and then there will be a boss door up ahead. But we're not going to go there yet, so up that path there on the left, that is where the boss is. This takes you back to the Sanctum. So there's actually a shortcut here, which is great. So if you want to rest at the shrine, or if you want to like upgrade anything, you can do that here. You don't need to kill these birds, they give you aurum feathers, which apparently help you increase a stat temporarily. They're kind of pointless. I don't even see the point in them. So if you knock this tree down, this leads back to the Sanctum, you can go in and rest, etc. One of the good things is that I noticed that they changed in this game. Usually it would be like Dark Souls where you would have to run back from the checkpoint every single time if you died. You can now just retry from outside the Sanctum, from outside the boss arena, sorry. So when you die, you don't need to run back from these every single time, which used to kind of get annoying depending on what boss it was. But now you can just retry and it puts you right outside the boss door, which is amazing. So once you've done this, we're going to run back to where we kicked over the tree. And then we're going to run across and we're going to backtrack to where the boss door is. This will also give you an item for that woman that's in the shrine that we spoke to earlier that didn't have any extra dialogue. So we go up here, up the stairs, and this is the next boss. This is one that's a bit bigger than you, so you can't actually do the backstab strat. But if you put the tempering thing on and light your weapon up with fire, this thing, when it's burning, takes a decent amount of damage, so just use that and kill it. If you want any tips on the boss, it does have a fair amount of openings. So it does like big arching sweeps and things like that, and you can easily get behind it. And it does this blood thing where you get basically free hits on it. So you can see its stamina bar is kind of ticking up, or its poise bar, whatever you want to call it. The only thing is when it does this, be careful, because it can actually one-shot you. I don't know how. It must have been some sort of like weird glitch or something. But when it slams on the ground, it can actually, the stun can also kill you. But you can actually, I think it's this thing here, so that's why I back up a little bit. And that's why I don't attack, because it can actually kill you when it does that. Yeah, I don't know how. But once you've staggered it, hopefully, eventually it will stagger because it's stuck in an animation at the moment. There we go. So now that it's staggered, Just give it a nice plunge in the head. A few more hits, and pretty easy boss. Like I said, most of the bosses in this game are easy. There's only a few that require a little bit more strategy. A lot of the bosses can be kind of cheesed with the backstab thing, which, yeah, you're going to be using that quite a lot. So, Wuchang, another boss down, another trophy, and a few more items. Once we're done with this, we're going to backtrack to another area. Quite a small area, but it's just out of the way and we need to get it done before we start progressing more of the story. So we're going to go back to where the Firebird enemy was, so make your way back there. So this is the Firebird courtyard. You're going to see this exit right here. This will take you to Annulum, which is like a key point in the story. We do come back here later, but it's completely changed and a lot of things are missed out. So we need to make sure we've got everything first before we progress a bit too far. But at this point you're safe, so just travel to this area. Nothing much to say about traveling to this area. It's pretty much a straight shot. It's just down a path, across a bridge, up the stairs, and then here's the shrine. So once we're in Annulum, you can do this in any order. As soon as you enter the shrine, go to the right, and you'll follow a path which will come to this archway which leads you across a bridge. Once you're across here, there's going to be a big enemy, a big red eye enemy that you can kill. He will give you a scenic painting and also an upgrade item. So same again, you can just hit them in the back, do your usual stab, then just get a few hits in while they're still on the ground. Good thing is, it's not too far from when we get our actual really broken fire weapon, which is the thing that I used on the Xbox and also through this playthrough as well. So yeah, once you've got that, you get the red mercury essence, etc. Go back across the bridge, and this is essentially a straight shot. So straight ahead, keep going down the path down here. I don't know why I'm looking here or here. If we go straight down this path and then left, past all these buildings, literally straight ahead, there'll be a path to the right hand side. It's going to take you down a slope, and this is where we fight one of the inner demons. So once you head down this path, you'll see this door that's closed, and there'll be like a pagoda in front of you. This is where one of the demons spawn. This happens if you die too many times when you're on max madness out in the world, but there's specific manifestations like this that we need to kill in order to get everything. So they can be pretty annoying. At this point I've got the sword counter, which is a thing that actually allows you to hit their weapon back at them. So when they do an attack, I can actually deflect. I'm doing it terribly here, but you can actually deflect them back so you can actually hit them more. So sword counter is good with this weapon, so if you ever have this weapon, if you're using something else, obviously I can't advise, but for this, make sure sword counter's on as the L2. These things are probably one of the most annoying enemies in the game, because even though they're humanoid, you can't back attack them, and even when you build up the posture, they don't cripple. So yeah, they're one of the most annoying things to fight because you can't do the usual tactics on them. So if you can sword counter them, great, but you get the bow blood. You also get the agility Shadowstone Needle, I believe. It tells you about how the inner demons work. And this should also have the Jade Pendant. Yeah, the Pixie Pendant. And just check what it is. Yeah, it's okay, I guess. Put it on if you want to. Then return to Shu Sanctum, and there's a few things we're going to do. So we can talk to this woman here, give her the bell, I think, that we got from Wuchang. That was the big bird thing that we just fought. So give them the item, and then what we're going to do is we're going to progress, and we're going to get firearm blades, just so we don't miss them later on. So what we're going to do is we're going to run out the temple the same way that we initially came in. And there'll be a locked door on the left-hand side. You should be able to open it by this point. Just run through here, run straight ahead. You'll come to this little village area, and you can see the yellow item in the distance. There's a lot of enemies here, so be careful. Just drag them back and kill them one at a time, because there's a flamethrower guy here, and poison and everything. So yeah, bring them back. Once they're all dead, grab the yellow item. This will be the firearm blades. And then head back to the temple, and then we're going to go in the main quest area. The main quest entails going down this area that is beside the merchant guy that we opened earlier with the turning of the temple. Once you enter this area, it's basically a straight shot to the shrine. There's just a bunch of corruption around that's going to tick your health down if you stay in it too long. Once you have got to this, from the shrine, head over the red tree on the left, and the first exit on the right, there's two small enemies shooting at us. There's a yellow item there, and that's going to be another weapon. It's another longsword, which is actually quite good if you want to use it. from the area with the sword, once we've cleared these guys out, so the sword was there, we're going to run back the way, and we're going to run up the tree. So up all this red stuff that you see. And you see this item here? This will cause us to drop. So pick it up, and it'll drop. And then you run down this way. We can ignore the enemies, or you can kill them just so they're out of the way. It's up to you. I just don't want them following me, so I'm killing them just to make sure. So we grab this, run through this area. Just run away. I'm getting tired of these enemies, so I'm like, screw you. See you there. Up the slope. Keep going. Up the little ladder here. You have slight invincibility when you're going up ladders. You don't have it when you actually get on it. But when you're doing the animation to step onto the ladder, you're invincible. So as long as they can't hit you once you start going up the ladder, you're fine. So go up here. And there'll be a lot of spikes on the floor and traps everywhere. Just be careful. There should be a bamboozling up here. So keep your eyes peeled for running away. So progress up this way, and you'll see like a little pit. You should be able to see the bamboozling literally just over there. So run up and hit it. This also leads into the area where there's going to be another pendant. So not this. This is a faint red feather for upgrades. But when we backtrack and go along the other way, there'll be 3 big enemies and 2 spike traps. But behind them, there's going to be the chest where you get the pendant. You can kill these guys or just run from them. The item in the middle is not actually something you need. Once they're dead, just continue on past them. And then this is where all the traps and things are going to be. You'll see the chest, so just make sure you avoid the traps. Chest is right there. That's where the Dracolich pendant is. One more pendant done and out of the way. So this one's actually quite hard to show, otherwise I'll be spending about half an hour showing it because of the way that I went around this. So essentially, as you travel down this area, opening up the lifts and things like that, you'll come across this wooden door, and there's a pendant behind this door, but you need to get to the other side to actually grab it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the door, and then we're going to backtrack. You'll notice where the door is because you'll see it from like lowering the elevators and things. So we're going to run all the way up here, and you see this item here. Step onto it, and this will cause us to fall. And you can see the wooden door over to the right. This takes us down like an alternate path, kind of. Just be careful you don't fall off the edge. There's a lot of edges to fall off here. That's a dud ladder, so it's just trying to trick you to fall down there. Don't fall down. Just run past that. So basically run along this entire path. Doesn't matter if you get corrupted as long as you've got some healing on you. Go up here. And this should take you around the path that gets you behind the door. Traps as before. But there should be a chest at the very end, which contains the Phoenix Pendant. And there you go. And then you can backtrack through there to get out. When you come down the last elevator, and you're obviously coming towards the end of this area, there's going to be a big circular altar type thing in the middle. Run past all the screaming pod enemies because they're just annoying. And in the middle, there's going to be the twin infant pendant and a mana vase upgrade, which is the Lost Remains. So make sure you pick them up. They're kind of hard to miss because they're literally straight ahead here, and you have to go past this to get out of this area to the boss and also to the next shrine. So twin pendant, and then that purple item is the Lost Remains. So make sure to pick that up. And just keep going past the bit that I just showed you where you got the pendant and the Lost Remains. Go down this path. There'll be a couple of enemies along the way, along like wooden areas, and this will take you to the Bandit Cave Shrine. And this is just before the boss. So I'll give you another couple tips on this boss. This one's another one that can't be staggered. It can be staggered, however, if it runs into the pillars that are littered around the arena, which gives you a lot of time to either temper your weapon and set it on fire, or just do a decent amount of damage to it. It does have a few annoying moves, like it goes into the ground and then bursts up, and it seems very delayed, so be careful of that move. It does also do some crazy magic beams everywhere else in the arena, and most of its attacks are just like this, where it just swings its scythe around and then crashes into the pillar, because that was the crash into the pillar that you saw there, and that pretty much allows you to just kill it. So not a super hard boss. It does drop a few items that we need for later, but it is a story boss, so you can't really miss it. Just essentially avoid it if it goes underground and let it charge into the pillars to stun it, and then you can get a decent chunk of damage. Make sure to temper your weapon so we can set it on fire as well. So we're going to basically run up here, and we're going to run into Yu Zhao again, and he's going to want the lost package that we found on the Buddha Cliffs much earlier on in the game. So you literally cannot miss him. He's on the main path here. So we're going to go straight up, and we're going to speak to him here. Make sure to give him the lost package that we found much earlier, and then we're going to continue up. The next shrine is actually a mimic. So there's a few of these throughout the game. I'll tell you when they're going to attack you. But be careful before you rest at any shrines past this one, because this is the very first mimic that you run into. So once you went past him, just go behind this and start attacking it. It'll wake up and it'll pretty much be dead before it gets out of the animation to sit up. And then you can rest at this shrine. Once you've rested at the shrine, we're going to turn around and head up here. This is where the white-robed elder is again. So he should just be over this way. Just talk to him, expend all his dialogue like we should do in all these sort of games. And then, yeah, we'll start moving through this area. I will recommend traveling back to Reverend Temple at this point. You'll see the guy's face on the map. He's the guy in the middle of the temple. He will give you 5 steam bunny buns, and he'll also move to a different location. Not 100% sure if it's needed, but you might as well do it just in case. Then from the Robed Elder, we're going to turn around and go up even further. This is going to lead us to a burned village, and there will be a shrine here to rest at, so make sure you rest at this shrine. You can explore the village if you want to. It's got a few benedictions and things inside of it, and a few more items if you want to pick them up. But I'm not going to start explaining everything about the game, because otherwise this guide is going to be like 50 hours long. So we're going to go down this elevator, and there's going to be an inner demon that spawns. This will give you the Shadowstone Needle and another Bow Blood. So when you go down, kill it. If you wait a few seconds when it spawns, the trees might eventually poison it, so it'll drain quicker. And also the good thing is with the demons, when they spawn any enemies that attack it, it will also attack them, so it gets a decent chunk of damage dealt to it first. In the next area, you'll come to this weird horse demon that's trying to attack you. You can either kill it or you can run up the ladder that's in this area. And this will take you to this next area, which has a lot of these crawly enemies on the ground, as well as this thing that you can knock over. This leads you to the red-clad lady. Once you speak to her, she'll give you a benediction, and the little glowy thing next to her, that's a spell. So just make sure you walk close to it, and that will give you the Divine Might spell. From where you talk to her, go down the path and then turn right, and you run towards this dead end. This bamboozling will be here. Like I said, it's not too much of a trouble if you miss one or two of them, because you can just run through the whole game again if you need to. Well, not the whole game, but like the first section, because there's quite a lot at the start. But you just don't want to get too far into the game where you've missed loads. So yeah, once you've done that, go down the path and then go left, and there'll be a golden chest at the end here. Essentially, if you've made your way to the boss, you've gone a little bit too far, backtrack, and this chest will be here. There'll be some enemies that fall down, so be careful. Once you're done with the chest, turn around and progress down that way. There'll be a ladder on the right hand side leading up. It's quite a big ladder. This will take you to this guy right here. He gives you the spell Burning Flames. It's a really good spell, and it's really good against this next boss, because they are weak to fire, because they're a tree. So make sure that you kill this guy, get a spell, and then just go back the way you came, and progress down that path. That will take you to the tree. When you're fighting the tree, temper your weapon with fire, but be careful when you're in the pool, because bullshit like this can happen, and it instantly kills you. So, good thing is, like I said, if you do happen to die, just retry from outside the door. You don't need to go all the way back to the shrine again, which I'm so happy they did that, because some of these runbacks are annoying. So yeah, just retry, and then just hit the boss in the face when it lowers its face down, and also use that spell that we just got as well. Once he's dead, we get a couple more items, and the shrine will spawn in the arena, so make sure to rest at this one before we go out. This whole next area is just extra, so if you want to explore and pick up like some benedictions and things, you can. But for the most part, you just want to run through this area because we want to get to like a bamboo forest area where you're going to see Zhuang Yangzi again, which is the guy from the start of the game. And you will also pick up an incense burner. So like I said, once we're finally past that area, we climb up a ladder and we come out here. There will be an item on the right hand side which we need to pick up. This is the incense burner, which is another item for Wuchang's shop. And then Wang Zhangji is on the other side of the thing here. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing any of these, but I'm going to try and put it as close to the names as possible. He'll give you 3 fixed origin pills, which aren't super useful, they're just healing items. And then we're going to progress forward and get a few more items, do the first riddle of the game, and then kill another boss, or 2. So when you get to this area, I would recommend just running in a straight line up the stairs, through the doors, across the bridge, through the doors on the other side. There'll be 2 enemies guarding a little chest. That'll be where another jade pendant is. I don't have the footage of it here, but just make sure you run straight ahead and get the eagle pendant from the small chest. Once you've grabbed the pendant, if you head over to these houses, you can actually make your way up on the right hand side on top of one of the buildings. This will take you over to this area. So once you climb on the building, it will lead you to this other side here where you can climb down. This will in turn, when you go forward and then left, take you to this big door. You can open it while you're being attacked, it doesn't really matter. This leads you back through to one of the temples. So once we run through this area, the door I mentioned earlier on in the guide, that isn't actually open, it opens here. So I think there is another way to get to it, that's why I had it open there. But essentially, once you've got the shortcut open, if you run up this direction, we're in that area where the blades are. So the fire blades are down to the left, and the door is right here, right in front of us. So this will open the door back to the sanctum, or temple, whichever one it is. And then you can grab the blades if you haven't had this door open at that point. If you explored a bit without following the guide to a T, you probably would have unlocked it earlier, but it's fine, it doesn't really matter, you can still pick it up at this point. Once you come back to the area with the ginormous door, we're going to run up, and there will be a couple strong enemies up here, so just basically run up this way, and then as you progress over, there will be this enemy that you have to fight. You can just run past them if you really want to, so once you go up this slope, then progress around the path a little bit. If you've got the deflect where you can like deflect their attack, this is probably going to be quite an easy fight, because you can just deflect everything or backstab them. No idea why I'm trying to attack while I'm this far away. But yeah, if you have the sword counter, you can just do this and you can knock him on his ass. And then you can either run behind them and do that, or you can just attack him and hopefully he'll die. Once he's dead, we'll continue down the main path. So this is the first riddle. There should be 3 of these in the game, and this is just underneath the tower you were just fighting that guy in. This one, the correct answer is the winged ascension. So we want to answer them all correctly, but the end game one, we need to answer wrong, so we're going to make sure we back up or save at that point. But I will let you know when to do that. So this one's just the winged ascension. Just make sure you don't mash too fast past this, because otherwise you might select the wrong answer. But once you've done that, you get the benediction lasting alacrity, which is actually a decent benediction. And then that's one of them done. The next thing is going to be a boss. It's the Tang Palace Maid boss, pretty much a repeat of the one that we fought at the start of the game, just a bit quicker. They're pretty easy, but I'll show you the fight. So after you've done that puzzle and you go down, you go left, and then you'll see the water on the right. This is where you go to fight the boss. Like I said, pretty much the exact same boss as before, they're just faster. If you have the sword counter, you can actually counter quite a lot of our moves like that. And you can also just hit them down as well. And like I said, same as before, you can use the back attack to cripple them. So as you see, they're dying very quick. That is a grab, so avoid that. Anything like that, you can sword counter, and then you can knock them back down. And you can use spells to hurt them, you can use back attacks, you can just wait until their posture's low, like this. And there you go. So that's pretty much them almost dead, with 0 attacks done to me. And I have 0 healing anyway. So yeah, they're dead. They will drop the key to get out, and also, as you can see, there's a gold chest in here that has the lost remains inside of it for another mana vase upgrade. Then the next shrine is out the door to the left and then up on top of the roof. And once you're off the roof, you'll see the shrine pretty much in front of you. There is a bamboozling here as well, so just rest here and then we'll continue on. So once you've rested, head down here, just run through this because it only makes noise, it doesn't really matter, and then kill the bamboozling. Continue down here, you'll run into a couple enemies. There will be a Buddha statue that you need to pick up. And once we've done that, we head back up the hill where the shrine was, and that's where we put in the Buddha statue to trigger the next boss. So Buddha statue's here, just past the area that you just saw, and then we're just going to backtrack to the shrine. Once you run up the stairs, make sure you talk to this warrior woman, and then place the Buddha statue into the pedestal, which is just next to this pagoda. Once that's done, it drains the water, and that's the water that was just outside of the gate where we fought that other boss. So you can go back down the ladder and everything like that, go back to where the lake was, and then this will be the first skill check boss. It's quite funny that the game tells you this now, because this tutorial comes up before you fight this boss, because it is literally the skill check boss of the game. All the other bosses so far have just been like attack, attack, attack. It doesn't really matter if they hit you because they're probably not going to kill you. Whereas this boss, Honglan, she will absolutely murder you. So once you've dropped into the water, fight begins. That's the move that you want to counter a lot. When she's at a distance, she will try and do that a lot. You can counter most of her moves. The only thing is, with the sword counter move in this game, you can't counter anything that's not a weapon. So if she tries to do this kick, you can't counter it. So yeah, it's one of those things as well. When she does do the charge or some other things like that, you can potentially get around her and do a back attack. So she does dodge quite a lot as well. As you saw, I tried to do a back attack there, but she moved. So this fight can be quite tricky. It'll probably take you a few attempts, but like I said, if you get past this boss, this is the skill check boss. You should be able to do pretty much most other bosses in the game. Plus, you'll learn how the game works as you progress. So her moves are pretty basic in the first phase. This is the second phase when you get it to less than half. She'll start flying around and doing like loads of air slices and things like that. She will also still do the charge like that, so you can counter that or get around her and then do a back attack. The good thing is if you attack straight after that, you at least get one hit in. These moves can do a lot of damage, but this is where the fight gets interesting. And the thing is, with that charge attack as you just saw, it does actually still give you the time to heal and then counter attack at the same time. But she is very aggressive in this form. So this is where it's going to get harder. But if you can get a couple back attacks, or use your tempering thing, and then some other spells to maybe get out of the way, you will beat this boss. Like I said, she is a skill check. Once you've got past her, you're golden for a decent amount of time. Once you've beaten her, you get a trophy, and you get a couple items, I believe, as well, and some red mercury. Then you will get teleported back to Reverent Temple, where you have to speak to a bunch of people. So speak to everybody inside Reverent Temple. I think there's maybe someone on the outside, but then the one that people will miss, but you'll probably speak to him anyway once you have the key, is this guy down here. So down the bottom of Reverent Temple, the guy that helped us before, make sure you speak to him. And then we're going to fast travel back to the point just before we fought Honglan, because there is a shrine in that area that we don't actually get to pick up. This is probably one of the ones that everyone will miss, because you don't expect there to be one in that pond. So we're going to go back and I'm going to show you where it is. So teleport back to the place that we just fought Honglan, and then you will get this shrine that's in the pond here. This is probably one of the most annoying things ever, because you don't actually get to pick this up. You automatically get teleported to Reverent Temple, and then you will probably never remember to come back here unless you're looking at a guide. So yeah, make sure you pick up this, because this is probably the most missable one in the entire game. Now we go back to the guy that we just spoke to, and we're going to open up the door that's in front of him. Once you've opened it, just quickly speak to him again, just so he gives you some soup, and then we're going to run through this area. So there's nothing of story significance in this cave or any missables. There is the Tai Chi statue interact point, so if you use the Tai Chi emote in front of this, it will give you a red mercury, and then you kill an enemy at the end of the cave to get another red mercury skill point. Once you have gone through the cave and a big elevator ride, this is the second main region of the game. There will be another riddle door here as well, so once you've grabbed the item on the left, which isn't really important, you can go to the right hand side. So once you've come up the lift, you'll see the shrine straight across. I went to the shrine first and spoke to both the NPCs first before going back to the riddle. But once you've rested at the shrine, go to the riddle door. And this one's correct answer is challenge the threads of fate. So like I said, don't mash, because otherwise you might pick the wrong answer here. So once that's done, you will get an item through here, which is a bridal armor set. It's not a benediction or anything, and you don't actually need to pick it up. You just need to answer the question. And then what we're going to do is we're going to make sure you got the shrine, and then we're going to go up here to this area above the shrine. Do not go to where that little wooden cart thing is. You want to go up where that exploding enemy was. So make sure you're going up the way, because the other area will take you to a much later area of the game. It's not too much more difficult, but it does break a lot of storylines and actual quests that we need. So make sure you go up the stairs here. There'll be a few enemies and things, but you can just carry on through this part. If you go to the left hand side, before you see Nian Suchang, he's standing at a tree or he's sitting down or something. If you go down here, you don't need to speak to this person, but when you go down here, there will be an item where you have to use the examine emote. This will give you the silk scarf quest item, which we need. Then head back up and to the right, and we're going to run into Nian Suchang. You'll probably recognize this guy by now, looks like Raiden. So once you've spoke to him, if you go up further, you'll speak to 2 other NPCs. Anytime I don't say something specific, just make sure you exhaust all the dialogue and just carry on. So once you've spoke to them, we're going to continue up a little bit. And once you've killed this archer enemy, he will drop the Rebel Orders quest item. And there should be a purple item here, which is the Tattered Pack. So we need to go back and bring that to Nian Suchang, who we just spoke to a second ago. So return to the guy down there. And then if you return it to him by picking the option hand over the Tattered Pack and say remain silent, he will reward you with the sorry emote. If you don't have this, it breaks the quest line apparently. So just make sure you do this. Then return back up to where we killed the archer guy, and there'll be a shrine that you can rest at, and also Wuchang will be there too. Okay, so this part is very big and confusing, so I'm going to try my best to guide you to where you need to go. So if we run up here, and then to the left, we'll run through a doorway, and Huang Jianyi will be here. She was the person that we spoke to in Reverent Temple, I believe, or Shu Sanctum, I can never remember which place it was. The place where we killed that boss up above. But she should be here as long as we spoke to her and did her dialogue. And she should give you the Zhenwu Tome, which is a quest item. And then from here, if we head up the way, so we head out her door up to the left, there's going to be a bunch of enemies up here. You can either run past them or kill them. And then once you run up these stairs at the end, run to the right, there'll be a big tent. Inside the tent, there's going to be another massive chest that has the lost remains inside of it for another mana vase upgrade. Yep, so this tent here, once you've killed a bunch of enemies, there'll be a big guy in here as well. Make sure he's dead, grab the chest, and then you're good to go. So if you go back to the path where the enemies were, keep heading up that way, turn right, pretty much the first right you can make. You'll come to this house that has a door that's closed, open the door, run inside and speak to this woman here. She will give you the bamboo tube or the bamboo missive if you agree to help her. Then once you go down and out, there should be like a big red pillar that you can see. There should be a shrine next to that. There's 3 of these throughout the area, the big red pillars, but this one is the only one with a shrine next to it. So just make sure to rest at this shrine. Okay, one thing to get out of the way at this point, if we travel back to the Snowy Passage, we're going to end up getting another shrine and another item for Wuchang. So travel back here. This is basically just going to be a run straight through area. There's nothing really of importance in here apart from the oil lamp. So once we travel back to Snowy Passage, we're going to run straight ahead and to the right. Oh yeah, I meant to say make sure you're drinking the soup around here, because otherwise you're going to get constant frostbite buildup. So when we run across here, there's a cave to the right hand side. Essentially you want to run straight through that cave. Ignore every enemy. There should be a lift, I think, as well, and it'll take you outside the other side, which has this glowing gold aura thing there, as well as a shrine. And you will also find the oil lamp. That's pretty much the only reason we're running through here. You can come back for it later, but it's probably better to do it now just so you don't forget. Yep, so once you're at the cave, this is what it'll look like. This is the item right here, and if you go across the bridge, there will be another shrine that you can rest at and then teleport back. So once we've teleported back to the Cloudspire outskirts, we're going to find the white-robed elder. So from this shrine, turn around, and we're going to run through a building, up a ladder, and then we're going to find him pretty much halfway up another tower that we need to go up anyway. So you would find him anyway. So if we run through here, run up the ladder. These ladders are annoying in this game. They don't tend to register your inputs a lot of the time. So once we've run up here, you can just run out into the right and just avoid the enemies. Just grab the ladder. So keep going, past the dog, grab the ladder. You might get unlucky and they might shoot you off the tower, but it's fine. The elder's here, up this tower. Just keep going. You would have to go up here anyway to basically light one of the signal fires, which also in turn burns the pillar that we're trying to kill. So you would have to go up here anyway. So you would eventually find them. So up here as well. And once you go up here, around the corner, he'll be here. And then the next one you go up should be where you light the signal fire. So once you've done that, just remember to exhaust all his dialogue, then progress up the tower. There'll be a red eye enemy up here. You need to open the small chest once you've killed him, and then light the signal fire, which will burn the pillar. This chest should contain the gunpowder spear, which is another weapon we need. So once that's lit, then we slide down the tower with the ladder that's at the back. Once you've slid down this tower, we're going to run to the next area. There's a lot of mines and things, but as long as you just spam dodge, you should be good. So we're going to run into this building right here. Don't wonder why I'm like running around like a crazy person. Try to get my bearings. So we run up here. We're going to head towards the next big red tower and the next signal fire, which will also give us a mana vase upgrade. So once we've run up here, you should see the pillar in front of you. The next building, you can see the ropes coming off of it. So it's to the left. This big building here. So we run up here and we grab onto the ladder. And then once you're here, I'm going to cut this out because you're going to make your way all the way to the top. Once we're at the top, we'll have another red eye enemy. Sometimes you can just knock them off the edge, which is hilarious. And then behind us, there's going to be the signal fire and a big gold chest. So make sure you do this and then light the signal fire behind you as well. Once we're past this part, we're going to go to the next inner demon that we need to kill. So drop down from the tower and then run through here, down, and then past all these enemies. This is going to be tricky if you run past all the enemies, because the demon will spawn as you kind of run up, and then you're fighting a lot of these enemies plus the demon as well, which is quite strong. So run past these guys to the right, up where this cannon is, and then as you get to about this point, a little bit further up, there you go, demon manifested. So they're going to appear round about here, and you're going to have to kill them. So make sure you kill this thing. I hope you save some flasks, because we're going to have to kill an enemy if you want another spell. The spells aren't mandatory, so if you hear me say a spell and you don't want it, just ignore it, because the only ones I use are fire spells. This is the Dark Frost Flames that you can get from this enemy. So it could be quite useful for certain bosses, or if you maybe struggle with certain things, it's good to maybe mix up a build. Because obviously I can tell you how I did it, but it doesn't always work for everybody. So if you want to follow along, get all the spells, kill this guy, he will drop Dark Frost Flames. And then once he's dead, we're going to go and get another weapon. So similar to before, it's kind of hard to explain, so I'm going to show you. So this is the tower that we recently climbed up on the left hand side. In front of us is where the corruption thing would have been. We're going to make sure we stick to the left, so ignore this, I'm just trying to get my bearings. On the left hand side here, we're going to run down this path. There's going to be a door that we open. And then once we run through this door, we're going to run down a slope, and there's going to be a red-eyed enemy on the right hand side. The chest behind him is the one that has the weapon. So once you've ran through the door, kill the dog, kill the enemy that's following you, and then there's a couple enemies here on the right hand side. This is where a red eye enemy is. You can kill them for some essence and grab the chest behind it for the weapon. Then just slightly up from where we got that weapon, there's going to be another tower with a signal fire. Climb this tower, light the signal fire, but do not go across the bridge that we lowered from activating all the signal fires, because that is progression and that can break certain quests, so we don't go there yet. So if you continue down from this tower, you'll see like a big red trail. Go down this hill. This will take you to a shortcut that has a benediction gate next to it, and the shortcut will actually take you back to the very first shrine that we found in this area. So once you've opened up this wooden gate, the benediction gate is right there. That is something that doesn't require a password. You just open it, and there's going to be another pendant inside there that we're going to get. So once you come across these exploding enemies, the pendant will be on the ground. And then you're going to progress through this area till you come to a lift. Go up the lift, and this will take you to the rebel camp. So this is the item here. When you get up here, you'll probably notice that you actually receive a bamboo shoot. That's because the bamboozling's an idiot, and it ran into one of the traps and killed itself. So what you're going to do is you're going to run past these two big enemies that are firing cannons at you, and just directly behind them is the shrine for the rebel camp. So once we've killed these guys, there's a really tiny ladder just behind us. Just right over here. Just going to show you guys quickly. There we go. So shrine's literally right here. Don't know why the game doesn't want to let me climb half the time. That's the shrine, and you can probably see the enemy over to the right. That is another one that has items that we need. It's a very strong enemy, but we're going to just kill it just to quickly get those items. So it will drop a thunderstorm spell and a secret letter that we need. So make sure you kill that enemy. So once he's dead, you should get the thunderstorm spell and the secret letter, and also a key in case we need that. Then from the shrine, if you enter the tent, there's a chest inside there as well, which will give us another pendant. Then head back down past the shrine. This is going to lead us to another boss. We're going to have Niang Suchang standing in front of the boss gate. You can summon him into this boss as well, so make sure you do, because this is part of his quest. So left hand side here. Just speak to him a couple times and then open the gate and then fight the General of the North, I Nenkyu. Good thing is, once this boss is dead, he actually drops the weapon that we're going to be using for the rest of the game. It's called the Flamebringer, and it actually works insanely well against every boss. So once you've summoned the guy in, we're going to be fighting alongside him. I don't think he can die, because I think they just tend to regenerate if they get hit too much. But we're just going to be using our temper, and we're just going to try and stack flame on him, and then just hit him as hard as we can. Dodge pretty much everything he does. He doesn't do too many crazy moves. He'll do like fire, ice, he'll do electricity, arrows, things like that. You can't stun him from the back, but you can build up his posture gauge. Apart from when he's doing things like that, he won't stagger. But yeah, he's close to being staggered here, so a couple more hits. Or one hit. And then pretty much he's probably about dead here, so just need to get a couple hits in here. Didn't manage to get him at the front, but it's fine because we've already stacked fire on him and now he's dead. Like I said, you've pretty much done one of the hardest bosses already with Honglan. She's one of the toughest ones. And now we get the Flamebringer, which is awesome. Now you're going to go outside the arena and talk to Niang Suchang again. He'll give you 3 special pills. And then now what we're going to do is we're going to go and fight the next boss, which is the one across the drawbridge that we lowered. So when you teleport back to the main shrine of this area, we're going to run up pretty much to where the tower was before. So if we run past the shrine here, and we should actually run across a bamboozling this time. We probably didn't see it the first time because we went up to the tower and the corruption pillar was already there. So you should be able to see it when you run up the path here. Yeah, there it is. So kill this little guy. There we go. Then just proceed through the fog over the drawbridge and we're going to fight Liu Cheng. I'm probably butchering pretty much every single name here, but it's fine. This boss is fairly easy as well because he can actually be stabbed in the back. Any boss that can be stabbed from behind makes it much easier. So I'm going to try and show you the best way to bait this guy. It's this jump here. So he always does 3 jumps and you can get behind him. And there you go. So you're going to try and rinse repeat that anytime he does that throughout the battle. He also does a few spin moves where I think he does about 3 or 4 spins and then you can usually get behind him. You can also sword counter him, as you just saw there. Does decent damage when you hit him back. But if you don't block properly, you're going to get hit for a lot. So you can also get behind him here while he's doing that. There's a lot of moves where he will just jump and then jump one more time. I mistimed it there because I thought he'd done his 3rd jump. But yeah, you use fire on him, get behind him. He will frostbite you and take away half your stamina if you do actually get frostbitten, which is kind of annoying, especially when you're trying to dodge all these crazy attacks. And he doesn't get staggered when you actually use the sword counter, which is even more frustrating. But it's fine, because once we get behind him... There you go. Thankfully he turned around there because I wasn't actually behind him. He does have a second phase as well, where he'll kind of like light up the arena with fog and mist. So just back up a little bit. You can use your fire spell from a distance. I don't know if that actually negated that there. But like I said, from previously, you've already done the hardest boss in the game. You've done Honglan. Everybody else is crap compared to her. He does have a grab also in his second phase. It can pretty much one-shot you if you're not got high enough health. But as you can see, as long as you're getting behind him a few times, the amount of damage that we do from like backstabs and everything like that is insane. He does almost kill me, I think. But as you can see, it's not crazy difficult. You just need to keep dodging sideways. That's probably the hardest move to avoid because he keeps doing it. But as you can see, it's pretty much dead at the moment. A little bit extra damage from the fireball there. Spin, spin. Try and use a heavy attack, but he dodges. And then, oh, so close. I've got 1 healing item left. And thankfully that staggered him, but I could have died there. I think I probably could have upgraded my vase more at this point. Because we have more things by this point, but it's fine. It doesn't really matter. As long as you've got the items. Plus, we've probably gathered some pills and other healing items that you can use if you struggle here. But just bait out the attacks and try and get behind them. You can pretty much just dodge and wait. That was the grab. You hear the grab noise. when he does it. And he is on fire now, so he dies. There we go. So, like I said, pretty much reiterating this statement all the way through this guide. All the bosses are easy, apart from Honglan, and there's a couple other ones that I will let you know about. But when we actually have our Flamebringer on, which I didn't actually equip at this point, a lot of bosses are a lot easier. Like, he probably would have died within like 5 seconds if we had the Flamebringer on at this point. But I'm going to show you the build that we use for the Flamebringer, because it is very good. So in this next area, I'm just going to be basically showing myself running through it. There is one item we'll grab, which is a Benediction, which works really well with the Fire Flamebringer. So run through this area, run left, through this door, run out. A couple enemies will probably be following you at this point, but we can probably grab the Benediction before they run into us. It's just here at the edge of the cliff. So be careful because they can actually push you over. Just grab the item quickly. It's called Burning Ignition, which is really good for the Flamebringer. And once we set up the build, I'll show you what it is. So we're just going to run through this area, keep running through. The next NPC you come across will be Hiyuzai again, the one that has all the little spinning wheels next to him. Just pretty much exhaust his dialogue as we normally do. There's no specific quest or like thing you need to select here. Just speak to him until it repeats the same thing. And now what we're going to do is we're going to quickly run from this area, keep continuing on, you're not going to miss anything. We're going to meet Li Wansan, and he's going to give us a red mercury crystal for a quest. You'll see him standing on the road as we go up. You can't really miss him. Once you speak to him, you gave him the tome that you found earlier on from the woman in the hut, and he'll give you the red mercury crystal, which is a quest item that we need to bring back to her. But before we do that, we're going to run up past this area, and we're going to give an NPC the silk scarf that we found earlier. So once you come across this enemy, kill it, and then speak to the person behind the door and give them the silk scarf. Make sure you do this because this is actually really important for the All Endings quest line. So I don't usually mention specifically give things to people, but this is very important for the endings, so make sure you do this. So just kill this enemy here. There we go. And just speak to the person behind the door and give them the silk scarf. Continue on the very end of this path and we'll come across the shrine. We're going to teleport back to the snowy passage so we can give this crystal to the person that we got the tome from. So rest here, teleport to the snowy passage. And then from here we're going to run up. You can talk to Wuchang as well in case you have anything to give him or anything to buy. But essentially we're just going to run up this area here. And we're going to go back to the woman and give her some stuff. So run up to the left through the door. You probably know where this person is, but I'm just going to show you again anyway. Some people don't pick up the way the areas are laid out straight away. So if we go left, once we go around the corner, and then just give her the crystal, she should give you a radiant red feather and an origin pill.
Please, it's a great want. My business is concluded.
Now we're back in Cloudspire City, time for more collectibles. So we're going to grab the black coral bracelet, which is pretty much just through this doorway, just across from the actual thing itself. So just continue through this area, and once you get out of this part, we're going to smash the items on the right, and this will lead us down to like a secret area, and this is where the black coral bracelet will be. So just follow it down here until you grab the item. Once you've grabbed this, head back the way you came. Don't go up the ladder at the end because this will take you to a completely different area. There is a very long and in-depth quest line here. If you want to do it, search it up because it's not part of the platinum. But it's kind of interesting. Doesn't really give you anything crazy. It's just about these bunch of kids down here that you help them survive. So you might see them later in the playthrough, but just ignore it because it's pointless. So go back the way you came, climb up the ladder. This guy's part of the quest as well, but like I said, it's not needed. So once you get to this point, head left. And you're basically just going to continue through this area, climb a bunch of ladders until you reach this rooftop right here. There is no other path to go, by the way, for the main quest, so you will eventually get to this point after you've climbed up a few buildings. You'll kill this thing, and then you're going to drop down onto the scaffolding, and then enter this building to get the mana vase upgrade. So you drop down here, and then just this area. Don't almost die like I did. And there'll be an enemy that runs out, so be careful. Just kill him. Then we're going to drop down once, twice, kill these enemies, and then go down the stairs behind you, and then across this area to this building. There will be a strong enemy in here, so I would usually recommend killing them before opening the chest, because apparently some people have said if you try and open a chest and grab an item and something kills you, it can void certain things. So you can open the shortcut, like the door is a shortcut if you think you're going to die here, because otherwise you're going to have to go all the way back up the buildings, come all the way back down, grab the chest, etc. But if you open this, you're invincible while you're opening it. I just decided to like kill the guy here, because if you backstab him, it's fine. Just like that. And he's dead, so he's out of the way. And then we can easily grab the thing. The only thing is this enemy's here, so I just decided to try and bait them into getting stuck somewhere. And that's your next upgrade. So we're going to continue where we were, so if you run back up the way and across the building, run back up the stairs. So run up here, run across the building, run up the other stairs, and then you're going to be in the same room you were before. There's only one other way out of there, which is to drop down onto like a snowy hill, which is just here. We're almost next to another shrine as well, so don't worry if you think you're going to die. So drop down here. I think a boulder comes down here, so be careful. This is basically a bait item. Yeah, as you can see, I pretty much almost die here because of it. There is a bag enemy. You can run past them if you want to just go to the shrine. So it's pretty much just run all the way up here. And then there should be a shrine just to your right when you enter this next area. Just to your left even. So run up here on your left. There you go. So you need to be careful in this area. If you run to the right of the stairs and go down the elevator and trigger the boss, you miss out on a few things. So what we're going to do is we're going to go towards the staircase to the left of it, and there's going to be a bamboozling in there to a dead end. So over to the left here, you should see the bamboozling in the distance when you get to this area. There you go. Just kill it. And that's another one done. So that should be number 9. Now we're going to go up the stairs into the palace. So this isn't down to the right, because that would be the lift. So you go up the stairs to the right, I believe. Yeah, because this is a dead end. So you go up to the right. You can grab that item if you really need it. So up here. This is a big area. There's a lot of enemies in here. And then we go in here. There should be an enemy, and there's a flute player just over there. There's an item in this room. Yeah, completely missed that, but it's fine. At least the strong enemy didn't notice us. There's a pendant in that chest, so we need to make sure we kill this enemy. So now what to do is make your way through this area. It's in this giant area. You'll come across a room that has a pressure plate in the middle. You want to stand on that and it'll take you to the roof. This is what the room looks like. There's a couple strong enemies in here. I think you can just run onto the lift and trigger it, but I just wanted to kill them just to get the items in the room. So once you go up here, the plain warrioress should be there again. Just make sure you talk to her. On the left hand side, there will be a purple item, which is the bloodied letter. There's a couple other items up here that you can grab, like the frostbite thing you just saw me pick up, but the bloodied letter is the main thing that we need. And then the room on the left is where we'll find the boss of the level, but she's not actually a boss here. This is where you can like speak to her and do some other quest bits. But in this room there's a waspomancy spell. So yeah, this is the boss that we're going to fight in the lower levels. Pretty cool boss, right? But in here you can get waspomancy. Like I said, the spells and things aren't required for the platinum, but if you want it, it's a decent spell. And then we're going to go below the elevator and we're going to fight another inner demon.
You have your reward.
So now what we're going to do is we're going to step on the pressure plate again, which will bring us back down to the main room. And then once it lowers, we're going to step on the pressure plate one more time, but then jump off. And then this will bring up this. You can jump down here just in between before it comes up. Or you can do the safe method, which is this. So you go in here. And then we're going to be fighting another inner demon. The panda's also down here as well. And there's the red jade wine, which is a unique consumable. You don't need this stuff, but you do need to kill the inner demon that's down here. This is where I actually switch over to the Flamebringer because the demon killed me, but I'll show you how strong it is. So you run over here to trigger the inner demon, which is this little chest right here. It will spawn in front of it. And then you just kill it. But it is quite strong at this point. But the Flamebringer sword that we have, I'll show you what we're going to actually use on it. Okay, so because it killed me, I equipped the Flamebringer. And then what we're going to do is we're going to change the benedictions. If you've been following along, you should have pretty much all of these. So what we're going to do is we're going to put on this one right here. You can put on the 3 one if you want, but Skyborn Might reducing damage is always good. Then there should be one for burn. Yep, so if the enemy suffers burn, your weapon gains increased fire attack power for a time, which is good. So put that on. And then the last one should also be fire. Consecutive attacks increase your weapon's fire attack power, because this is basically a fire weapon. So what happens is if you use your temper on the weapon, if you don't have fire on your temper anymore, it's not going to work. But once you temper it with fire and then use its internal firebrand skill, which is L1, it does insane damage. But make sure you switch blink kick back to the counter if you want it, or you can stick with blink kick, but I prefer the counter. But as you can see, this weapon does mega damage, and it's going to come in very clutch for the next boss that we fight. So yeah, once that demon's dead, you'll get a one-handed sword, and you'll get a bow blood, and also a shadow stone needle. But yeah, once you've done that, go back to the shrine, and then we're going to go straight ahead to the stairs and right this time, and down the elevator, which will take us to Huangyan, which is the boss that you just saw earlier. Just to show you in case there's any confusion, so we're going to the right-hand side. Down this little corridor here, there'll be a lift. And thankfully, like I said, if you do die, you can just restore it from outside of the room. Because you used to have to go down this lift every single time, and it was a pain in the butt. She's not super strong, because this will actually do a lot of damage to her. But she can still pretty much one-shot you. Because she has a tell where she does this move that's like a shotgun. If you're close to her, it'll do pretty much all your health. If you're far enough away, it won't really do very much. So just to show you what move I mean. So when she swings the lantern like this, if you see her moving the lantern at all when you're close to her, make sure you back up, because that will pretty much kill you. And I'll show you exactly what I mean. So here I am doing some mega damage to her. As she swings her lantern, I'm dead. Because I got hit by all of the projectiles at the same time because I was too close. But good thing is, she is one of the bosses where you can backstab her. When she starts doing these swinging kicks, this is your best time to get in on her. So she'll do about 3 or 4 and then stop. And then you can do the backstab and do mega damage. When she gets to half health, she'll start doing her second form, which is like the wolf. It's not really much different from what you want to do, you just want to make sure you avoid this. And sometimes when she stops, you can actually get behind her straight away and do a backstab. But she does sometimes go really far away, so you can't actually get her. But she'll do this about 3 or 4 times and then stop. And then she'll just do the same moves again. So when she does those two, you can actually quite easily get in on her, as you saw. And then you can use your firebrand thing, like you see here, and do crazy amounts of damage. The bigger the boss, the more damage this does. So I'll show you some crazy damage with some of the bosses later. But, as you can see, not too difficult. Just make sure you don't stay close to her when she uses that stupid lantern. And once she's dead, you get a trophy, and the shrine will spawn in the arena next to the doorway. So once we go into this next area, we're going to run around the outside before we go onto the actual lift itself, because there's an item here that we need. It's the bloodied paper. It's the quest item. So grab this and then go down the elevator. Once you go down the elevator, there will be another shrine straight in front of you. This little girl, Fang Yao, will also be next to the shrine. Make sure you agree to help her. This advances her questline. Okay, so this area is even more confusing, has a lot of collectibles that we need, so make sure to follow along. So when you go through this area, jump down the side here, go over this scaffolding, just up there. You don't need to go anywhere else, just up the scaffolding, and then drop down to the other side, just make sure you don't fall off. Then we're going to progress through the traps on the floor here. You can just run through them all and then heal afterwards. They don't do insane damage. Well, they do, but you can heal through it. So what we're going to do is we're going to continue through this area. Once you've killed the enemies, you'll see a slope, or a path to a slope, as you can see here. So drop off the edge. There'll be a couple enemies here. After you go up this next slope, it will take you to a bamboozling that's trying to run away. So make sure you kill the bamboozling here. There's a purple item on the ground, which is a used mortar, which is a Wuchang item, so you need that. One of the good things I can teach you with the firebrand weapon that we have is when you've tempered it, if you do 2 attacks and then press L1, it does insane damage, because it does like an extra hit with the second hit of the attack that you do. And as you can see, absolutely melts enemies. So yeah, there should be a purple item closer to the opposite end of here. So you see it here, maybe? Yeah, there you go. Use mortar, so we need that. Like I said, there's a lot of collectibles in this area. So the next thing is going to be a Forgotten Remembrance, which is a vase upgrade. So continue up here. There is also another quest item that we need to grab too. So that's why I'm just going to walk you through most of this area. So you should see it down here. A couple enemies in the room, just make sure they're cleared out. Like I said, it can cause issues if something hits you while you're here. I think this can also cause a shortcut if you open the door next to the thing. But the area is confusing, so if you're following this, you probably won't know how to get back here. So yeah, just open up this and get the Forgotten Remembrance. What you're going to do now is you're going to continue through the area until you have to use a switch to open a stone gate. You can't really miss it. And then after this, because it's on the story path, you turn right, drop down into a room, and then the Mad Doctor's research is going to be the note. So like I said, you can't really miss it because it's the critical path. So this is the thing on the wall. Open it up. In the next room, you're going to find the Mad Doctor's research note because we need this for the main quest. Otherwise, you're going to miss out on the endings. So you should see it here in this room. There it is. So pick it up. Then after progressing through this area where there's boulders rolling down this hill at you, there's a ladder off to the left here. That's the main path. Progress up there and there'll be the Crimson Pendant up there. Pretty much you can't miss it because that's the only way you can go. That is the main path. So once you're up the ladder, you should see it here. And we're going to pull the lever as well and then open up the door. As you progress on the main path further, you'll run into He Zhao again, before this other bridge and before another shrine. So make sure you speak to him, give him the Mad Doctor's research notes, as this needs to continue the quest. So once you've passed him, there will be another shrine right there. And once you use that shrine, we're going to go back to Reverend Temple and give the Mad Doctor's research notes to Zhuan Yangzi, who's up the top. So you should remember this guy by now, give him the Mad Doctor's research notes, and then once we've done that, we're going to teleport back to the Shaft entrance shrine, and we're going to get another Lost Remains. Okay, so back at the Shaft entrance shrine, we're going to go left, but we're not going to drop down this time, we're going to run past the clubs. And this is a very funny shortcut, because it shortcuts pretty much the whole entire area, and also gives you the Lost Remains. So run all the way through here. There should be a couple boulders rolling down. So once we've done this, after 2 boulders roll down, you drop off the ledge where the boulders are rolling to. And then this is where the chest is located. There you go. And this shortcuts everything. You're actually in the bride boudoir now. So once we've grabbed that, we go out. And we go left. And you're going to recognize this person who's in the jail cell. So we run left, ignore these enemies. And this person right here, you're probably going to recognize them. Yep. It's Honglan, the person who was the skill check boss, but they're locked in a cage. But we're going to get the key for them. So if we go down the stairs, once we've spoke to them, kill this enemy that's just down the stairs, they will drop the dungeon key that we can use in Honglan's cell and get them out. So once you've got that, go back and give her the key. And she'll give you a pendant as well.
Our debt is settled.
There you go.
Time we meet.
And then you probably just saw me run past like a blue glowy light that we usually emote at. So if we run down the stairs, once we've checked what the actual pendant does, increases the attack power weapon skills. Yep, put that on, because the thing we use is a weapon skill. You can change your things around if you want to, but there is one that I've got equipped that stops enemy roars from affecting me, I believe, and that's good for big bosses because their roars will stun you. So if we go into this cell here and use the examine emote on the blue spot, this will also give us another pendant. So now we're just going to continue through the area until we come across the storyteller guy before the bridge. So speak to him. You can activate the elevator if you need to, but it's not really needed anymore. It used to only be there when you had to go to the shrine to respawn, because this next part's a boss. So as soon as you go across here, you're going to fight the perfect bride. Decent boss, not too bad. The first form is like humanoid, so you can backstab it. Second form, not too human, but you can use your firebringer thing on it, and it's amazing. So let's get into the boss fight. So this was the first try for me. Like I said, the boss isn't too difficult. Just a couple things you need to watch out for. This'll be the magic and beams and things like that. She also does do a grab, but when you hear the grab sound effect, that's when you move. So that sword thing's a grab as well. But she does have a lot of opportunities to get behind her and use your back attack. Like that. If she was out in the middle of the area, you could use the back attack on her there. There you go. So when she's doing things like this, you can actually get behind her. I didn't have Skyborn Might at that point, so I couldn't. She'll do about 3 or 4 of those, and then you might have a chance to backstab her. There you go. And with this thing being on, once she's on the ground, use 2 attacks and then use L1, and it does insane damage. This isn't even her, like, big form. So when you get behind her and you actually get her on the ground, you can do crazy amounts of damage. But on the second form, we're going to actually melt it. This form, in my opinion, is the harder of the two. So the first phase is actually more difficult, because she's faster, and she isn't big, so you can't hit her with the fire thing that you want to hit her with. So just keep hitting away at her, try and get behind her if you can. A little bit too far to get the back attack there. I'm just going to leave this entire fight in just because it's probably easier so you can see her moves. We're getting close to staggering her. She's also getting close to killing me. That move doesn't seem to be too hard to avoid. Whenever you're close to her, it just doesn't seem to hit. There you go. That's the grab when you hear that sound. And there we go. So she's stunned again. Hit her a couple times while she's on the ground. Using temper again to get the fire back on the weapon, because that makes it 20,000 times as strong. Also, that scream that she just did, because of the talisman that I got on, it doesn't actually stagger me. Same with her big form as well. So attack, attack, spin, and dead. Look how much damage that did. So now we've got our second form, which is a big monster. So very big, very easy for us to hit. Well, I say that, but it does run around the arena quite a lot. So if you temper your weapon, getting close, use your attacks, and then use your firebrand attack. Haven't managed to do it yet, but you'll see when I do, because the damage is insane. So if you're fighting a big boss and all of those little fire particles hit them, it does insane damage. I don't know why I'm doing charged heavy attacks here, but this scream would stagger you normally, but because we have that pendant on, it doesn't. So yeah, she'll move around the arena quite a bit, but as long as you're staying kind of near her, ow, and just dodge in. I get very close to death here, but watch how much damage this does. She's almost dead. So this fire weapon is very good against this boss, as you can see. And then that's a dead. Easy as that. That's another area done. And the thing that we just got, the chisel, that actually allows us to use benediction without shrines. So if you want to change out your benedictions with your weapons, that's what you can do. So this shrine appears, so rest at the shrine. So once you've rested at the shrine, it causes the 2 NPCs to spawn. So speak to Fang Yao first, she's the one sitting down. She'll give you the hairband and the light crown and a few other things. And then once you speak to the storyteller, he will teleport you to the next area. And this is where we're going to meet the white-robed elder again. So once you spoke to him, he'll teleport you. Don't worry too much. He takes you basically to a previous area, and then we're going to go through that and find a few more things. So this will be the dialogue, go to Hill's Watch. It'll teleport you back to a previous area. Do not speak to him unless I say, because there is a part later on where he will teleport you to the next area of the game, and it will lock out the previous areas. So yeah, he teleports you to a previous area, Hill's Watch, where you can actually go down and see the shrine and things if you want to. So you'll probably recognize this area, because like I said, you weren't supposed to go to that area initially. This is the next area of the game, but you could go there if you wanted to. It would just break a lot of quests. So we've already activated this shrine, so you can rest here if you want to recuperate. Alright, so from the shrine, head back up and go down the ladder that we were put in front of when we teleported. And then what we're going to do is we're pretty much just going to run through this area for the most part. We're going to run up the slope as we fight all these other people. So this area is pretty quick. So if we run straight ahead and then up the slope, like stick to the right and run up the slope, you'll meet the white-robed elder. Just exhaust his dialogue. There's also a purple item in front of him, which is a brilliant red feather, if you want to pick that up for higher level upgrades for your weapons. And then you're just basically going to continue through this area. There's only one way you can go, which will take you to Mount Zhenwu Battlefield Pass, and it's the shrine there. So after you climb a couple ladders, this is where you'll come out, and this is where there's going to be like a lot of other missable things that you need to grab. So if you head left from the Battlefield Pass shrine, I don't know why it's called Battlefield Pass, it just makes me think of battle passes. If you see this enemy here, once you've run past the buildings, just so you know where you're in the same area as me, run up the slope that's next to it. This will take you to an enemy that's casting a spell. If you let it cast it too long, it'll kill you. So just make sure it's dead, and then you'll drop into a pool just in front of it, and then to the right hand side of it, there'll be one of the mana chests, which has a Lost Remains in it, for a mana vase upgrade. So yeah, kill this guy here. I can't even remember what the status is that he puts on you, but yeah, it's bad. So kill him, grab his stuff if you want to, and then drop down to the right hand side. Not that way, other way, there we go. So right hand side, just over there, and there will be a gold chest here. There you go. So open that up. So once you grab that chest, run out the room and then to the right. This will take you to a couple items. You can get a benediction if you want it. You don't need it, but there's going to be an item to the right that looks like a note, and that's going to be the medicine case key item. So just continue through this area. If you run straight ahead, that's where the benediction is. So notes to the right, benedictions over here. I can't even remember what this benediction is, but just grab it if you want it. Vitality force. So I think when you're high on health, it gives you more strength or something. So read this note and it will give you the medicine case. There you go. And then just run down the hill and we'll find He Zhao and Fang Yao again. So make sure to speak to them. When you speak to him, you can ask him what's wrong and he points you to Zhenwu Temple. Speak to Fang Yao and just basically exhaust all our dialogue, and then that's pretty much it. The robed elder will also be down below. Make sure to speak to him, and you have to make sure you agree to help him, because otherwise that locks you out of certain endings, and also a secret boss. So once you spoke to these two, if you see a ladder quite close by, just make sure you exhaust all the dialogue just in case. You always know what you have to do with these sort of games. Yep, there you go. So we spoke to her a couple times, that's all done. So now there should be the ladder quite near us. It's usually near here. Yeah, there is. So go to that ladder and slide down, and then the white-robed elder should be on the left-hand side. You can probably see him from here, actually. So yeah, once you speak to him, make sure you choose agree, and then when you fight the bow sorcerer, later on, this is where you summon him, and it actually does make the fight a little bit easier. It also allows you to do the Dream Sweet Deceit ending. So once you spoke to him, just carry on a little bit up the road and you'll find the refugee camp shrine. So yeah, agree. Make sure you agree to that. Right, so then continue back the way to the ladder that you went down, and then across the bridge to the right up the hill, and this will be where the refugee camp shrine is. And we'll probably be coming back here a few times. Now it's time to speak to the NPCs, so we'll speak to Magalhaze. He gives you the pray gesture, I believe. He might not, doesn't really matter if he does or doesn't. Then Nyan Suchang's the guy who's sitting over there. Just remain silent, this means he'll appear somewhere later on. And then Wuchang and Tao Qing are also here, so you can give them the items, so you can buy other items if you want to. Once you've spoke to everybody, we're going to go back down the way, and we're going to run towards the swamp area. This will be where we fight another inner demon. So remain silent and then head back down the hill where we came up, and we're going to head to the right hand side. So once you head back down the hill and head to the right hand side, you'll notice you're coming across like a sort of red swampy area. There will be a bird enemy here that you can kill. Quite a tough enemy, but then past him there's going to be an inner demon, so make sure you save your heals. Yeah, so once that thing's dead, just run past and a little bit further over here. If you don't kill it, it usually will fly at you and fight you at the same time as the demon. Sometimes you might get lucky and the demon will hit it, or it'll hit the demon and then they'll start fighting each other. But with the weapon that we've got now, you're doing crazy amounts of damage, but you can still die pretty quick. Because this demon does loads of damage, and you can't stab it in the back, because for some reason they decided that's not possible. And it also cheats by healing. We're the only ones who are allowed to heal. So as you can see, it doesn't stagger. Like, you can't do a stab attack when you actually break its posture, but you do get a couple seconds to attack it. So it'll give you that needle, and then you can grab the benediction here if you need it. Okay, so now from here, make your way back to where the robed elder was. So basically up the slope, basically head in a straight line across the bridge. The robed elder would have been on the right hand side, and then you're going to go down the ladder. So he won't be here anymore because we agreed to help him and we've rested and moved through a few different areas. But this is where he was. Go down the ladder, and then this is going to lead us to the avian dwelling, which is another kind of major area. This is also an area where you make another important decision that can lock you out of endings. There's so many things in this game that can lock you out of the various endings, so make sure you're following along. So once we've done this, we're going to head into the actual forest path. I did this section so many times when I was doing this on the Xbox, so I've pretty much memorized it. So if we run through this area here, once you've ran through the cave, you'll end up in this open forest area. Run past this guy in a straight line, and you'll end up pretty much at the avian dwelling Mount Zhenwu shrine. So just ignore everything else for the moment, and just run up here. The shrine should be here, and the red-clad lady should also be here as well. This is a thing you must pick. You need to pick I agree when she asks you a question. So make sure you're not spamming through anything. Make sure you speak to her, pick the right thing, which is I agree. Once you've said I agree as well, she will also give you a spell. I think she gives you this regardless, but make sure you select I agree. Just because this area looks very similar pretty much everywhere, I'm just going to walk you through this part. So we're going to keep to the right hand side. So this is, you've turned around after you've rested at that shrine, and we're going to go to the right, keep to the right. I'm just doing this to see if I wanted to kill that enemy, but keep to the right hand side of the forest and then run down this area. There should be a couple enemies on a ladder. Essentially the next shrine is only like a minute away, so we can kill these enemies, or we can just kind of run past them. Usually when you're on the ladder, this thing might hit you off, so be careful. So yeah, just grab whatever you can, run down the ladder. I didn't even know this thing could mutate. I didn't know that was a thing. But yeah, run down the ladder. And this should take you to the avian marsh area. This is also a farming spot as well if you want to farm extra red mercury. I've got a guide on my channel for that. I'll post it in the description. Pretty much any sort of farming area. I'll post down there in case you want to gain extra levels, because the next boss in the next area is very tough, even with a summon. So yeah, this is where the actual Avian Marsh shrine is. So inside this house here. Alright, so we're going to turn around from the shrine and we're going to run forward and left up the slope. You can kill all the enemies if you want to. I think I killed them for some extra red mercury. So just kill these guys. And then this slope to the left is where we're going to go up. So yeah, up here. And this should take you to the last demon. I don't know why I'm pissing about doing this. So run up here. And there should be one of those burnt branch things where it tricks you into stepping on it for an item. So you should see it here on the right hand side. This will drop you into an arena with one of the demons. There's also an exploding guy here, which you can just dodge. Or get exploded on. Either way. So yeah, go up there, grab the item. If you die, you just come back to this area and just drop down normally, because this won't be here anymore. Once the demon's dead, you should get the trophy. Because you're stuck in a small arena, it can be quite tough. But with this weapon, it's usually okay. Especially if you can deflect. There you go. Quelling Madness. So that's all the inner demons done. So there's a few items you can grab in here. Sorry if this guide is getting cut down a bit. Like, this playthrough took 20 hours. So I'm trying to cut it down to maybe like 3-4 hours maximum. And trying to explain as much as possible so you don't get lost. So yeah, once we've come out of there, we're going to be in the big open area again. And we're going to grab another pendant, which is near a clam that jumps out the water. So if we go left from where we just came out, we'll be in a sort of open area, then this tunnel. This tunnel has a couple little clams in it, and then this item in front of us. But there's a big clam here that will try and grab you if you don't run to the side. There you go. So the pendant's just in front of it, but it will try and grab you if you're in front. But as you can see, the damage we do is insane. So yeah, this thing should be dead in like 2 seconds. And there you go, pick up the item. And there we go. So now you follow through this path, as you saw, past the clam and everything like that. There'll be a few enemies, and then you'll come to this area. If you go right up the slope, this will take you to just above where the shrine was initially. There's a ladder you can drop down. So kick down that ladder, and you've got a shortcut back in case you need it. As you continue further up the path, you'll find one of these burnt nests on the right hand side again. If you look left here, there's a shortcut that goes over, but it's from the other side. So you kick the tree from the other side to this side, but the burnt tree thing's here. So if you land on this and then continue on this path after you drop, there will be a bamboozling. This is bamboozling number 11, I believe. If you fail to catch this one, the branch where you drop down will be gone when you respawn. So yeah, make sure you catch it. It's this one here. And then you're just continuing up from here. As you continue, you'll see 2 of these enemies in here. The purple item on the right is actually a secret letter, which is a quest item. So you will probably need to kill these guys unless you want to try and grab it on the way through. But as you can see, with the damage that we do with this weapon, pretty easy. So you just make sure you hit them a couple times and then use your L1, and they're pretty much obliterated from it. So then grab the secret letter. Then as you go down here on the left hand side, there's a tree you can kick down. There's a red-eyed enemy on the right hand side. This is the tree that I mentioned earlier that's directly across from that burnt nest. So you can kill this guy to get another red mercury thing, so another level essentially. So once he's dead, you can continue past him, and then this will be the next area where there's a few collectibles, but they're not too bad. So yeah, watch this damage. So he's on the ground, attack, attack, L1... There you go, easy. So red mercury essence, so just continue on this path and we'll be in like a big open cave area. So in this next area, the summoner that's in the middle will start inflicting despair on you. I've still got on the clothes from the beginning of the game, and it seems like despair doesn't build up as fast as it normally would. It must have been the clothes I was wearing last time, because when I came through here on the Xbox, I was dying really quickly. But yeah, just continue through this area. There'll be a summoner kind of halfway up. We'll kill him, and then we'll drop down into the middle to kill the other summoner and grab the mana vase upgrade. So once you kill this enemy, there'll be a gap on the right hand side. This is where you drop down to kill the other summoner to actually get the mana vase upgrade. So you drop down here, drop down, and then drop down to the right, I believe. Yep. And then just run into the middle to kill the summoner. If it's building up, just stand here for a second for it to go away. Or you can use an item. But once it's depleted enough that you know you can kill him before he kills you, just run into the center, kill him, and then grab the chest. Once we've climbed up and we're near the exit, you'll see this red-eyed guy in front of you. This is a pendant in this box here. So open this up, kill him, and then as we exit, the white-robed elder will be on the right-hand side. So just make sure to kill this guy so we're not interfering with anything. Yeah, so once you've killed him, go outside over this bridge and speak to the elder. He will only be here if you actually agreed to help him at the refugee camp. If you didn't, then you know you messed up. Once you see this ladder shortcut, release it. This takes you all the way back down to the shrine down below. But we need to go through this area to get the bronze armor for Wuchang, which is another item that we need. So there'll be a bunch of enemies in here that will all start attacking each other. And this is literally right at the very back where all their nests are. So you can run in and grab it, or you can kill them. It's these enemies over here. So there'll be 2 big birds, and then 2 other birds will come in. And you can kill them, or you can grab the item, which should be this purple one here. So now go back to the ladder and climb it. This is going to take us to the bamboozling number 12. You can grab this one later if you miss it here, because you can just come back from the shortcut that we make. So as soon as you go up the ladder, head out and you should see it in the distance here, across this thing here. So it should appear, and then just keep running and hit it. You'll be coming back this way anyway, because there is a boss over here. Not yet, but it's a secret boss later on. So this area will also allow you to open up a shortcut. So I'm going to show you where that is just to make it easier for next time. So it's not back this way, it should be over here. There you go. So shortcut, this takes you back to the shrine where the red-clad lady was standing. So if you need to run back this way, just teleport to that shrine and then go across the shortcut. So from here, if you continue along this way, you'll see a ladder that goes down. We want to go down here because there is another lost remains for the mana vase upgrade down here. You will need to kill a couple enemies, but once they're dead, just grab it. Now if you continue back up the ladder from where we grabbed that upgrade, kill these enemies and then run along this way. I totally didn't die here, promise. And then in this next area there is a spell if you want it. It's called Plume Vortex. I've never really used it myself. You can kill these enemies as well, just to get them out of the way. But we're going to go up the ladder that's just to the right of us. So these items don't matter, they're just extras if you want to get some extra red mercury. So up the ladder here, there will be a spell up here, and then this will lead to the next boss, which is the bow sorcerer. You know how I said Honglan was the skill check boss? This boss is more of like a BS boss. She's really, really tanky, and she just does not die. She has a few moves that you can counter, and you can do a few things to get behind her and stuff and back break her. But yeah, she's really tough, even when you summon the Elder, and we need to summon the Elder for this fight. So once we've grabbed this spell here, if you go down to the bottom, there is a tree you can kick over, which makes another shortcut. But like I said, because this game's been updated, you don't really need it, because you can just come back here by retrying. So this is underneath where that spell is. As you can see, that's a big arena over there, a boss arena. And then if we turn around and go over here, this is where the shortcut would have been. This would have made it a lot easier if you were dying constantly to the bow sorcerer. But thankfully, they've made it so you can just retry now. So if you want to go back and rest and gain your supplies back, go and do that. But the bow sorcerer is down here in that big open arena. So once you've done that and you've went to the arena, make sure you summon, because the white-robed elder needs to be summoned for this fight so we can continue his questline. It can be a bit tricky because sometimes she'll just do that and stop you from doing it straight away. Most of her moves can be backstabbed, like that. You have to be really quick though, and as you can see, even with that, we barely did any damage. This is probably going to be one of the hardest boss fights for you. If you want to go away and grind, like I said, I'll put a few grind spots down below that you can go to. There's one later on where you could probably go to just now that gives you loads of red mercury if you're struggling with her. You can use dual blades against her, or the leech thing, but you can't use your fire thing if you use leech. So you can either deflect her with sword counter, try and bait backstabs, or use the cheese builds that I'll post down below. But she is a pretty tough boss. I'm not going to say she's easy. She's probably one of the harder bosses in the game, even if you know how to counter everything. But make sure you summon him and just use him to your advantage and just kill her. Once she's dead, you'll get the Bow Sorcerer trophy, you'll get the copper drum, and you'll also progress his questline, thankfully. After defeating her, the White Robed Elder, backtrack to the Avian Dwelling Shrine, which is the one that we were just at. And then his character icon should appear in the fast travel menu. So from the shrine that we go to, which is this one here. So this main shrine here, because we made a lot of shortcuts to this, this is the shrine that we're going to head from. So once we've rested and upgraded, etc., we're going to go to the left-hand side of the shrine. And we're going to go across, not that one, this side, this left. And we're going to run across the branch where the bamboozling was. So run across the shortcut, and then a little bit over here to the right. This is where the bamboozling was. You're going to run across here, and this is going to look like a massive boss area. It's not yet, so you don't need to worry. But you will fight a boss here at some point in the future. So keep going, this massive boss area. He will give you a pendant, and pretty much will just progress his questline. Then if you go back to the Bow Sorcerer's Arena, we're going to go through the opposite direction. So this is the entrance that we came in. We're going to go to the opposite side, and this will basically take us back to the refugee camp. It also allows you to get a shortcut as well. So as you continue down this way, you'll see this NPC. Just talk to him. No matter what happens, nothing really happens in return. So once you spoke to him, just back up a little bit. And then go through this area. There might have been items in front of it, but just smash them. And then there's going to be an enemy up here, which actually drops funny headwear if you want to wear it. And it also drops a skill point for you to use. But it's very weak to fire, as you can see. So then we're going to run up this area, and it's going to take us back to the refugee camp. Nian Suchang is going to be there again. Make sure you talk to him. Open up the shortcut, etc. And then we are going to start progressing to the next area. Right, so remember the bit with the demon and the bird? We're going to go back down there and we're going to head left. This will allow us to go into this area with the tents. And in one of these tents there's going to be a pendant, and then we're going to progress further in and we're going to be at the Zhenwu antechamber. So essentially, straight down from here, as soon as you slide down the ladder, turn right. Well, not your right, turn left. And then head towards the bigger tent in the middle. So once you see this fire pit, on the left hand side there should be like a little staircase, go up here. This is the tent where the pendant's going to be, so make sure you go in here. This will be the thunder pendant, and then once you've grabbed that, I'm just killing these guys just to get them out of the way just in case. Once you've grabbed that, then we're going to progress further in and we're going to run to the shrine. I honestly hate these guys, they're so annoying. There we go. So inside the tent here, you'll see a little box. Right there. So that's the box with the item in. And then if we go out of here, probably where that guy shot us from actually. So there'll be a break in the wall, just run through here. Continue all the way around, there'll be another guy try to shoot at you with a cannon. And then there'll be a door on the right hand side. I think you used to have to open this, I don't think you need to anymore. Or do you? No, you still have to open it. So you can kill the guys or you can just open the door. You've got invincibility frames when you're opening doors. Once you're through the door, just head straight up the stairs. It will lead us to a shrine and this guy right next to it. This is Lee Dingo. You can give him the secret letter. And then what we're going to do is we're going to progress a little bit through here and we're going to find the bamboozling. This area is another one that's quite confusing if you're not sure where to go, so I will show you exactly where we're going to go. So rest at the shrine and then we're going to go on our way. Right, so we're going to head down from the shrine and turn left. This is going to take us into this building. And then from the building, there's going to be a ladder on the outside. We're going to climb up. This will take us kind of halfway up. you need to go kind of up the stairs first. So up here, and then to the left, ladder outside. Just climb it. This area is kind of annoying because you need to cross between these buildings. You need to do this a lot later as well. There's so many buildings you need to cross between. But this one's fairly easy. So across here, there'll be a couple enemies that try and jump you. This guy will try and surprise you here. Then there'll be this guy here. Just kill him because he tries to get in your way when you're trying to climb ladders. So kill him. He's dead now. Go into this area here. You don't need to grab all this stuff, but just kill this guy just to get him out of the way, because you don't want the despair status on you. Then if we go round, I think we need to go down the stairs. Yeah, we need to go down the stairs first, but I think there's maybe an item here we can grab. No. Down the stairs. And here's an item you can grab if you really want it. Nothing spectacular, but that's a decent amount of red mercury if you want it. And then there should be a pot enemy that you'd probably want to kill just because it'll try and knock you off the ladder and do a lot of damage to you. Once that's dealt with, or you've managed to avoid it, there should be a ladder you can kick down over here on the edge. So kick this down just as a shortcut in case you need it. And then run up here. And then we're going to run across the rooftop to the right hand side. There'll be another bridge that takes us over the wall. And then this will be where bamboozling number 13 is. As well as a spell and a tome, which we can give to Wuchang, as well as a forgotten remembrance. There's loads of items over here. So yeah, right hand side, just run to the right here. And as you run over, you'll see the bamboozling on the right. You'll have to dodge because you'll end up getting shot by the cannons. And there you go. So now just kill these guys just to get them out of the way. And then the ethereal form is in the same area. It's outside the square where the summoner enemies are standing. So you'll see them kind of in a big kind of group gathering in the middle. So this item here, if you want it, ethereal form. Decent spell. Like I said, I'll try and show you as many spells as I can, but you don't need them all, so I'm not going to show you every single one. And then after the dancing firebird enemy, which is over in the next part of the courtyard, there is only like one way you can go here. So if you go over to the left over here, not this area, past this part, straight ahead, and into this pagoda. When you exit out the other side, there'll be one of those firebird enemies. They're quite tough, so if you don't kill it, at least you've got a shortcut back up. You don't always need to kill it, but when you try to go up the ladder, it'll probably end up sniping you off of it. So now we've climbed up the tower, you can either drop onto this bridge or you can just kind of walk onto it from the tower. As you can see, that's the tower you went into. This is the second connecting tower. There's going to be a lot of these. So after you've got across here, there's going to be a floor of spikes. And you're going to have to maneuver your way around there to get the Tome of Silver Seeking. You need this for Wuchang. Otherwise, you will not get the trophy. So it should be around here. You'll see like a big set of spikes. Yeah. So they do a decent amount of damage. So if you tank all of these, you'll probably die. But you can use items from your inventory if you want to heal over time, or if you need extra healing just to get through them. So once you get through, you'll see the item at the end. That will be the Tome of Silver Seeking. Then as you climb and progress to the third tower, we're going to cross the rooftops again. This will be another firebird enemy, and there will be a chest in here that has a forgotten remembrance in it. This is kind of on the critical path, so you're not really going to miss this because you can see it right here. You just need to make sure you kill this guy first. Like I said, you don't want it to glitch out or anything. Once we've done that, just to make it easier on ourselves if we die, because there's a lot of enemies up here and we're going to be up on these rooftops for a while, we're going to go down the stairs. The critical path is up the stairs, but if we go down, we can actually open up a shortcut. So go down here, open up the doors. This will allow you to come through here quicker if you do die. So then once we've done this, head back up the stairs and then up the next set of stairs. While you're fighting this guy, you'll probably see a chest behind some bars. Ignore that for now because you can't get to it yet. Just keep continuing through the area. So you're probably going to end up climbing up a ladder. This is all critical path stuff, so this is pretty much the only way you can go. So climb up a ladder, progress through this next tower. There's going to be some like enemies you have to kill, some levers and stuff you have to pull, and then you're going to end up going down into a shortcut area which will take you back to the very first shrine that we found in this area. So these guys cast Despair, just make sure they're dead. Progress into this next area. I don't know where the hell he came from. So yeah, continuing here, there should be some levers and things we need to pull. So if we pull the lever on the left, this will bring this down. So then we can cross. There will also be an NPC, the Huang Jianyi NPC from earlier. It doesn't really give you anything specific, so it's not like story related stuff. But if you have spoke to her previously, you will have the NPC there. So we're going to continue over here, kill this guy. And then the only path you can go is over here and then down. So we go over here and then down the stairs. Yep, there she is. So if you've done all the things previously, she'll give you like an origin pill. Not really anything crazy, but then we're going to go down. There will be a pot enemy down the next area. And then once you go down the stairs, there will be a demon pendant that you can get. So yeah, once you kill the pot enemy and you've caused disaster, knock down the ladder and then go into this next area. You can use worship on the blue thing to get a skill point if you need it. And then you can open up the shortcut, which allows you to open up another shortcut back to the shrine. So yeah, you can use the worship thing on this. There's nothing in here at the moment, except an enemy that's around the other side, which is a red-eyed one, which drops a radiant feather and another skill point. So if you want to kill him, feel free, but use the worship thing on there as well to get another skill point. Once you're done with that, we're going to head out. So this will allow us to open up another shortcut. So when we go out the door, there's going to be a bird that flies at you. Avoid it, because otherwise it's going to do massive damage to you, because it's a grab. You can kill it, or you can just run away. I think if I hadn't managed to backstab it here, I probably would have just run away, because I was already very low on healing items. But that thing's dead. Now we're going to go down the stairs. And there's two shortcuts we can open. I don't know why you'd want to open up the shortcut to the right hand side, because you don't need it anymore. But you can open up this. And then you can open up the main one. So you open up this as well. This will take us back to the main shrine. And voila, we're back where we came from. This area right here is probably one of the best farm areas in the game for low level. I farmed this for maybe like an hour or so on the Xbox and became super powerful. So if you're struggling with a bow sorcerer, this is probably one of the best places to come, because you can get so many points here. You get drops from them, which gives you essence, and then you also get the essence from them by killing them. But yeah, you can climb up here. This will take you back into this area, and then you drop down to get the demon pendant. So you should see the drop down area here. Should be a hole in the ceiling, potentially. There you go. So in here, and there's a ladder as well, so you can always put that there in case you fall down or mess it up. So yeah, kick the ladder down for the demon pendant. So you kick this down, you can see the thing on the left hand side. It's on the statue. So if you drop down here, you should be able to grab it. There you go. And now we've got one more boss to do in this area before we start progressing into even more crazy buildings. Like I said, this area of the game is quite good for farming, so if you need to farm any red mercury or any levels or that, if you're struggling, probably one of the best areas to farm here. This opens a shortcut as well, and then the boss door is just to the left. This boss is Liu Wenju. He uses a lot of lightning. He is a very small, sort of human-sized enemy, so like before, you can counter him, or you can get behind him and use backstabs. Probably one of the best things to do with him is just dodge his attacks, and then whenever he's doing swipes, get behind him. Be careful of his gun, because his gun can pretty much one-shot you. But nothing much really changes during this fight. He just does lightning swipes, he'll summon lightning up above, he'll shoot you like this, but you can actually use the sword counter on it, even though it's not a sword, which this is probably one of the only things that it works on. And when he does this, you can either parry it, or you can just get out of the way. And then he'll do things where he jumps up above, slam on the ground, things like that. But you can usually backstab him at this point. But like I said, he's human, so you can do decent damage from the sword counter. And if you have the sword counter, you can parry a lot of the bullets. You can dodge this, and then do a backstab, or counter it and do a backstab. Do the typical fire thing, where you do the two R1s and then the L1, and then there you go. Not a typical hard boss. He does drop the Thunder's Call dual blades as well, which is really good. Once you've done that, you're going to follow the path back up, and you're going to take the path left back towards the refugee camp, where you can open a shortcut door, and Nian Suchang will be up here. So there is only one way to go here. It's across all the scaffolding once you've beaten the boss, but Nian Suchang's here. Speak to him, open the gate to the refugee camp, and then I would recommend opening that just because it will allow you to come back from there, because this area is going to be going over a lot of rooftops and there's a lot of places you can die quite easily. So open this up and then we'll continue over the scaffolding. So as we're progressing through the building, we'll come across these two casters. Once you've killed these, there'll be stairs leading down to a ladder. This is going to take you to an area where there's two big bird enemies and a small glowing white chest which contains the Cloud Piercer spear weapon. So once you slide down all the ladders and everything, these two enemies will be here. You can take them out one at a time if you attack the one on the right first, and then once that one's dealt with, kill the one on the left, and then you can pick up the chest. Once you've picked that up, we're going to carry back up, and we're going to go to an area where there's like an invisible walkway, so you'll kind of know roughly where it is when you get to it. There is only one critical path here, so after you've progressed through all these areas using the levers to get past all this area here, there's going to be a shortcut which will take you to the area that's just behind the shrine, so if you fail you can come up from that elevator instead of running through everything again. Right, so this invisible walkway is going to lead you to another benediction gate which has some collectibles in it, so just make sure you're following the path that I take because this can be quite tricky. So if we step on here and then we head directly for the book that's to our right here, try not to veer too much off to the left because you will end up just slipping off because the path is quite small. So from here you can start using an item which will light up a path just in case you're wondering where the path is. So if you want to test out the path or just light it up a little bit more, you can do this. But essentially we're going to head over to this book. So yeah, these are pretty much what's showing the path anyway, and they do stay here for the most part, so you can make your way back if need be. So this will tell you the path ahead is clear. We head over to this one, but just in case we're going to throw that. So we go all the way over here and then do a little zigzag, just like this. Just making sure. So ahead to these ones, and then you'll go down in like a slight slope after you go across here. So once you go over to this one, and then you head down towards that item, that's the safe spot. And then you can open the benediction gate. So the benediction gate will give you Blight Ward, and then inside the benediction gate area there's two enemies that inflict despair, so be careful. And there will be a Forgotten Remembrance that you can pick up. And that's pretty much everything in this area. So once you've done that, return back to the safe area, and then we're going to continue into the next tower, and we're going to find that one that we saw behind the bars earlier on, and that's the Lost Remains. So once you've killed these guys, open up the chest, and then we're going to continue back the way. So this part here is just as we return to the tower and we go right. This is going to take us over to this next tower, and there's going to be a ladder that will take us down towards that Lost Remains that we went past earlier. So there's a Firebird guy, just kill him, just get him out of the way. Fire actually does a decent amount of damage to him, even though he is on fire. But he's dead now. So then we're going to head downstairs, just over here, and then down a ladder, and this will take us to the area that we saw earlier, where we saw the chest, but we couldn't actually get to it because it's behind some bars. So you'll see the chest here, and there you go. So open that up, and then we're going to make our way through the building. Pretty easy, critical path, so you shouldn't miss it. So after you've climbed up some stairs, ladders, rooftops, etc., you come to this area. The game tries to throw one more thing at you to kill you, and you'll be here, which is the area that leads to the shrine. So this is another mimic shrine, so make sure that you light your saber up on fire, and then just run through. This thing will be dead before it even manages to stand up. So you can either run behind it or stay in front of it and just use your R1, R1, L1, and look how much damage this does. Insane. And then you can rest at the shrine. Once you've rested at the shrine and head upstairs, the storyteller will be here. Select Heed the Warning. And if you keep exhausting his dialogue, he'll give you a bamboo shoot. In the room next to him, there's a quest item called Zhenwu Temple Scriptures. You get this by looking at a note on the shelf. Sorry, it's not a note, it's just an item. And there will also be a chest here that you can pick up, which has the Dragon Coil Cinder Axe, I believe. As we progress a little bit, we'll find the Warrior S again. Just make sure you exhaust her dialogue. She'll give you a plumed branch. And then if we follow all of these wooden platforms, you'll find the altar gate. You'll be avoiding a lot of cannon fire here, just run up and activate the shrine. There is an item just before the boss door that we want to pick up. It should be called a sacred token. We're going to return this to one of the guys at the refugee camp. So go up to the door and pick up the token, which is this purple item that you can see up here. You can talk to the guy that's lying on the floor, just make sure you don't open up the door to the boss room. Return to the refugee camp and give this guy the token. Then return to Reverend Temple and give Zhuang Yangzi the Zhenwu Temple scriptures. And then we're going to fast travel back to the shrine that we came from, and that's where we're going to fight another boss. So the great thing is with this boss, it's another big body boss. You can summon a person in to help with the bone whistle. I think it's part of their quest, so just make sure you summon them in. It's 2 people at once, so it should be pretty helpful if you struggle with the boss. So because we have this fire attack, if you do your 2 R1s and then your L1 when you're close to it, it'll do crazy damage. And as you can see, these guys are shooting it from afar with lasers. This is a 2-phase boss fight as well, but both of the phases are giant, and as you saw how much damage that did, it was insane. So when it stops jumping around, you can do some mad damage to it. And the second phase is also big, so you don't need to worry about missing the target with all these fire attacks. But pretty basic moves. All it does is swing around and then it jumps back and does a lightning attack. It does do a lightning breath as well, which is a really good opportunity to get in and get a couple attacks off, because it just stays there. And as you can see, with all the damage we're doing, it's staggered already, and now it's on to phase 2. I barely even got a chance to talk during that boss fight. So now the second part is where a guy resurrects on its back and he's basically riding it, which is pretty cool. Very cool boss design. And as you can see, it's still a big body, so we've got loads of room to hit it with the fire attacks. Here it'll keep shooting orbs down and they'll explode. The boss does do mega damage, and you can probably reduce some of it with different armor. This is still the base game armor. I didn't really see the point in changing it. It doesn't really make too much of a difference. But these orbs that it's shooting, they explode, and then here's the big laser beam that it does, but you can do your attacks while it's doing it, and look how much damage this is doing. Insane. This build is insane when it comes to big body characters. It just does absolute mega damage. You don't even really need to think with this build if it's a big body character, as long as it's something that won't kill you in like one hit. And as you can see, the boss is now dead. Amazing. So if you guys are enjoying the build, yeah, leave a like down below just so I can remind you. But once you've done that, the altar appears directly in the middle. So we're going to rest at the altar, and then we're going to speak to an NPC that spawns once we've done that. So once you've spoke to the NPC and then rested, their items should be here at the doorway that we're going to go out of. Once you've ran down here, this is where the storyteller is. Do not interact with the storyteller. Just completely ignore him for now. So when you run down here, you'll see Niang Suchang again. The storyteller's off to the right. Completely ignore him. Do not talk to him whatsoever. The panda is off to the left as you run down, or to the right as I'm looking now. So through the forest on the right hand side, if you need to buy anything from the panda. So once you've ran past the storyteller, you'll be in this cave with this big long wooden bridge. Just basically follow this cave through, past this area. It'll take you out to an area that's called the Ferry Overlook, and there will be a shrine there. You can go to the right hand side of the cave when you get in here. The only thing that's there is red mercury and a spell. So once we're outside, we're going to get a missable weapon and some other little bits. If you want, you can go back to Reverend Temple and speak to Zhuang Yangzi again. He'll give you a Blood of Chang Hong. It's basically just like an extra mercury thing that you can use. You don't need to, but it's there if you want it. Once you return, if you come down here, there will be Sun Kewang and Li Dingo in the docks. So these names sound hilarious when I'm saying them probably. So you speak to this guy, you probably remember him from much earlier on. We spoke to him and the other guy that were sitting next to each other drinking. So just go through his dialogue, speak to him, and then speak to the other guy that's just straight up ahead. The guy that's straight up ahead is actually guarding a weapon, so once he disappears after we rest at the shrine, the sword will be where he was standing. So once you've spoke to those guys, if you go to the very end of the dock on the left, there will be a tiger pendant. So the pendant should be just here at the end. Once you've done that, run back to the shrine and rest. Some of these NPCs might not be here for you. If I'm not telling you about an NPC, don't worry, you haven't missed them. I'm telling you only about the important ones. So once we've rested at the shrine, we run back down. The two NPCs at the start will be gone, and you'll see a little glow on the left hand side where the item should be for the sword. So this should be the Serpent Fang longsword. And then we're going to go over here and we're going to speak to the boatman NPC. You'll probably recognize him from the start of the game. This guy here, just exhaust his dialogue, and then you're going to click on the boat that you can see the little white haze on at this moment. And this will take you to the Bai mansion. So once we've clicked on this boat, this will take us to the Bai mansion. And this next shrine will be on the left before entering the mansion grounds. So as you run up here, there'll be an item on the right. And then you will also see He Yu Zhao on the left. So rest at the shrine, speak to him, exhaust his dialogue. Once you've exhausted his dialogue, go into the little garden area. There should be a spell in here, and there should be an item that you can pick up, but you have to use Examine on the blue interact spot. So this should be the spell. Yep, Demon Bane Strike. And then if you use Examine on this, this will give you the Broken Belled Pinwheel, which is a quest item. Then you're going to continue past the shrine up the hill, and the Plain Warrioress is going to be there. Exhaust her dialogue, and the little glowy note to the left, make sure you click on this because this will give you the Imperial Guard token. So once you've exhausted her dialogue, pick on the note. That's why we sometimes look at the notes, because they give us items. There you go. And then we're going to fight another boss, and you'll probably recognize this boss. So during this fight, make sure you have the whistle equipped, because we're going to actually summon He Yu Zhao in, because that's part of his questline. So even the funny thing is, even if you kill this boss at the start of the game, you still have to fight it here. Not an overly difficult boss, pretty much the same moveset as it had before, it's just a little bit quicker and more spammy with its attacks. But when we summon He Yu Zhao in, at least we've got a little helper to take the aggro. Most of the things that you're going to punish are things like this, where you can get behind it, or when it jumps. The only annoying thing is it jumps around so much that when you're using the fire attack, it tends to move out of the way. So you can't do the main damage that we normally do, but you will stun it quite a lot with how many hits that we do. So it has things like a water spout attack, it has tentacles that come out in a second phase. Most of the moves it does, it just jumps around the arena and screams quite a lot. And then does things like this, where it does like a lot of attacks in quick succession. Our main plan is basically just set it on fire and do loads of fire damage. And then once it's dead, we get another trophy. We get a spell, I believe. And there will be a shrine that spawns inside this arena once you kill it as well. So once we've rested at the shrine, we're going to head back. We're not teleporting anywhere, we're just going to run back down to the mansion where He Yu Zhao is, and we're going to give him the research journal scrap that we just got from the boss that we just fought. Just to show you, when you speak to him, you should get this prompt, and you give him the research journal scrap too. Once we're done here, teleport to the ferry overlook, and we're going to speak to the boatman that we spoke to before. He will give you Li Jiao's Fang, which is an axe, so you need this for all the weapons. So just run back down to where the boatman is. I'm not going to show you, you should know by now. Once we've grabbed this axe, we're going to return to Reverent Temple and speak to Wang Yangzi again. He will give us a Blood of Wang Di. It sounds like I'm making all these names up, I promise I'm not. That gives 10,000 XP when you use it. Good thing is he's actually at the start of the temple this time instead of being halfway up. So just speak to him and then rest at the shrine. This is where we make a backup save. So this is where we go to the cloud and upload our cloud save. Just in case no one's done one before and they're worried about messing it up, go to the settings and then go to save data. And we're going to upload to the cloud storage. You just click on Wuchang and then upload. This will turn off autosync 90% of the time. So yeah, just hit yes. This will upload the one that's from the console to the cloud storage. As you can see, I had one on there already, but this one's the one we want on there. And once that's uploaded, we can just continue playing the game. So we go to the Zhenwu altar shrine, and then we're going to make our way down to the storyteller again. Like I said, this is the point of no return, so if there's any icons on the map for people to give them items to or anything like that, the merchants do follow you, but some other people don't, so just make sure you've done all that sort of stuff. If you've been following this, you should be good, but we're just going to run down to the storyteller here. So when you speak to him, say continue forward, and I press ever onward, and that will take you to basically one of the final stages of the game. We're not actually too far away from the ending, which is good. You'll probably recognize this area that it's taking you to. Outside to the left, there's going to be He Yu Zhao and Fang Yao. Just talk to those two. Tao Qing and Wu Gang, they're in this area, the two merchants, so you don't need to worry about missing items to give to them, as long as you've obviously picked up every item I've told you to so far. The panda is down to the right from where these guys are. If you want to go to him, he sells another benediction item if you want it, but it's not necessary. When you get to this part, which is where the storyteller is in the middle of this area. So in order to get all 4 endings in one playthrough, we're going to ignore the storyteller that's here just now. Just don't talk to him whatsoever. And then we're going to run down here and we're going to activate the shrine. There is only one critical path in this area, so you can't really miss this. We're going to run up the stairs here, and like I said, you'll probably recognize this area. This is where we fought that big bird demon lady boss. And there's going to be a boss here as well, so we need to make sure we kill that. It's the nightmare demon boss, so up this set of stairs. If you go to the right, you can get a shortcut, but like I said, you can just retry from outside the arena if you fail, so it doesn't really matter. This is quite a tough boss because, like I said, this is a boss version of the inner demon. And they can't be knocked down. Well, they can be knocked down. They can't be critted in the back. And they do insane amounts of damage when they do actually hit you. But just give it a good few tries. If it's too much for you just now, just come back a bit later when you've leveled up. But just remember to come back here. You don't get a trophy from this one yet because this isn't actually the strongest one yet. Annoyingly. But then, once you've killed this boss, we're going to go into Shoe Sanctum, which you saw before. So run down the stairs and then run left. And this will take us to Shoe Sanctum, which we've been to before, but this one's a lot more corrupted and messed up. So there is a much bigger shortcut into Shoe Sanctum now, so once you run through here, just run downstairs, and that's where the actual shrine will be. The same place it was before. So we go back across the shortcut and up the hill to the right. We're going to be getting another weapon here and also talk to Nyan Suchang. There's a couple different ways this can go down. They're either going to be a red-eyed enemy or they'll just be there defeated. And they will just give you these items. So just keep running up. You might have to avoid the boulder. So keep going up the hill once we've ignored all these enemies. You can go to the right here, but don't go there yet. Just run up the hill. Keep going. There shouldn't be any enemies here, I don't believe. All the way up the hill. And then on the other side of this big rock, they should be here. I'm just buffing my weapon just in case, but in my playthrough, they're just sitting there at the edge. So if you just speak to them. And we got the Sword of Exorcism. Just exhaust his dialogue, because we're going to come back here. He will disappear, essentially, once we've done this. So once you spoke to him, do you see the red thing in front of us here? We're going to run across that, because this is actually an invisible bridge. So basically just run straight across here. You'll also see a bamboozling on the other side, so kill that. That should be number 14. Like I said, if you've missed any, as long as it's only 1 or 2, or even 3, you can get them at the start of a new game plus pretty quickly. So you should see one round about here. Yep, there you go on the left. So kill that bamboozling. And then this is a shrine, but it's a mimic shrine. So buff your weapon up and get ready to kill it. And there you go, pretty much dead before it even stands up. And then rest at this shrine. Once you've rested here, this will respawn the guy, well, despawns him so we can pick up the weapon when we go back up. There is also a Forgotten Remembrance just to the right as we entered here, but we're going to grab that on the way back up. Okay, so turn around, grab this chest. This should have a Forgotten Remembrance in it, which is another mana vase upgrade. And then once we've done that, we're going to run across the invisible bridge again, and the guy should have despawned so we can grab his item, which should be a weapon. So just make sure you run up here and grab it, because you don't want to miss out on any of these weapons. These areas don't really go away, it's the previous ones. So if you missed anything previously, like with this area when it wasn't corrupted, you're out of luck, which is why I missed an axe at the very start of the game, annoyingly. But this item should be the weapon that you need. Yep, there you go. So you got the Zhenwu sword and you got the Sword of Judgment as well. So from here we're going to grab another weapon. So if you go down the hill to where the boulder rolling guy was, just before him there's an area off to the left where you can run. It's not this area here. It's a little bit further down. You'll run down like some wooden planks and things. So you'll appear here. This is where you run down. And just below here there's like a, it looks like a stable almost with exploding barrels and a guy with a gun. Be sure to kill him first, because like I said, sometimes when you die while you're opening the chest or anything like that, it might make the item completely mess up. So when you run down here, before you open up any of the chests, go to the right here, and there should be barrels and stuff. If you kill this guy before he does anything, you can smash the barrels and then just open it up, so you're safe now. This should have the Scorn Grey Axe inside of it. Just because there's a lot going on in this next area, I'm going to show you exactly where you need to go. So if you just run through this entire next area, we're going to go to a benediction gate, which will also give us corruptive feathers as an item we can have. But we're just essentially just going to run straight ahead. You can kill these guys if you want to, but you can just run straight. The guy on the right won't actually attack you. I think they used to, but they changed it, so the soldiers that are defending don't actually attack you. So if you run past this area here, and then to the left, just past the glowing pillar, run up here, and you should see, this should also look kind of familiar. This is where we fought the soldier in the lake, Honglan. So if we run over here, don't attack these while your thing's on fire because you will blow up. Activate the benediction gate. This will take us into the vegetable garden. And there will also be another mimic. So there's enemies in here, but if you just run straight ahead, you'll go into the vegetable garden. So once you're in the vegetable garden, you should see the shrine. This is a mimic as well, so make sure to attack it before it attacks you. And then once it's dead, just rest at this shrine. So from the vegetable garden, there should be a hole in the wall that you can run out. And you want to go down this section here. And then run up to the left. Follow this path pretty much. So just run left. Ignore most of the enemies if you can. Just run straight ahead. You'll notice this area is familiar as well. Pretty much all this area is going to be the same. It's just a bit more corrupted. So if we run straight ahead, we're going to run through an area with a lot of enemies. Just keep going. Ignore everyone here. Just run straight ahead. And we're going to come up against another bamboozling. Should be here. Yep, kill it before it runs into the water. If it runs into the water, it's fine. But then we're going to progress through this area. So this is still in the area with the bamboozling. You'll see this big enemy. There's a chest right here. You'll probably see me die here, but the chest is right there in front of me, as you can see it. So make sure to pick that up, because that actually has a pendant inside of it. When you get to this area called the Palace Pass, and you're dropping down these areas, you'll see there is a bamboozling on this red thing. So just run past everybody, and just kill the bamboozling as it's running. Then once you get through this area, there'll be a lot of corruption. There should be a shrine just past this area. Once you come out of the area, this should be the shrine. Don't worry, it's not a mimic, even though we fought like 50 of those so far. When you turn around from the shrine, you're going to notice this wall that has a lot of talismans all over it. Open this door, there will be a red-eyed enemy in a small chest with a pendant inside of it. So kill the enemy as per usual, and then grab the pendant. So once they're dead, you'll have access to this, which is the twin lion pendant. I can't remember if this is a good one. Let's just double check. Twin lion pendant. Weapon skills. Discipline skills. So if you have any good discipline skills, you can use that as well. The sword counter counts as a discipline skill, but it doesn't really do damage, so I don't think that scales with that. So once we have done that, we're going to go back to the shrine, and we're going to go through the door that was next to it. This will take us to Honglan again, but she is now souped up and is basically like Melania, kind of. So you carry on past the path, and you're going to come to this drop. Buff up before you do, because she's literally just down here. She does have a lot of opportunity to back attack her, and she does do a lot of damage, but there's a few skills that you can back attack. So this one, just try and stay behind her, because she will drop down and there's a lot of lag on that move. You can still sword counter her, which is good. And then when she does this move, I would recommend just avoiding it, and then you can back attack her as well. Like I said, she's got loads of opportunities to do this. On her second phase, she just starts going a little bit more mad, starts throwing more projectiles and like other things like that. So doing more of that move. But as long as you're trying to stay behind her, you will eventually just absolutely destroy her. I'll leave my ending to the fight in here because I thought it was quite funny. So the fire damage that we do is actually insane still with this build. But she can get sword counted quite a lot, and then when she backs up here, I'm like, you know what, screw it, I'm just going to use this. So instead of waiting for her to like come to me and attack her, I just did this. So we get a trophy, and then there's going to be a door that spawns in the arena that we're going to go through. You'll see it kind of generate in the background here from the smoke. There you go. So we're going to go through that door, and then we're going to speak to the boatman that's literally just outside of that. So once you spoke to this guy, he'll give you like a Blood of Changdong, which is just extra experience. And then on the main path after this guy, we're going to find another shrine. Just to note about the next shrine, do not go any further until I explain the next part, because we need to make sure we set up one of the endings properly. Okay, so now that we've got to this shrine, we're going to back up our save one more time. So same again, go to settings, then go to save data, and we're going to upload. Because when we upload here, we're going to be reverting this save. So make sure you upload, not download, upload. So upload your save. Yep. And this is going to be for the successor of bow ending. There we go. So we've uploaded, so now we can start the game again. And we're going to teleport to Annalum so we can talk to the storyteller guy. Okay, so when you speak to him, make sure you're using these exact dialogues. So, what kind of favor? I do not. The bow people. Then we're going to refuse to help. Then the last one, just to make sure, is refuse. So refuse to help, refuse. This will lock us into the successor of bow ending, which is like an early game ending. So yeah, refuse to help, refuse, and then we're going to continue on. So we're going to teleport to the palace entrance shrine, and then we're going to run straight for the boss. We don't need to pick up any collectibles because we're going to revert our save, so it won't matter. So from the shrine, pretty easy path, just run straight down here. Keep going, just sprint past everybody. We're not going to collect anything at this point because we're going to revert our save once we've done this early game ending. I'm surprised I didn't get this ending straight off the bat when I first played this game. So if we slide down the ladder, you can see there is an item there, but we're not going to pick that up because we do not need it. This is going to be the Bow Magus boss. She's not too difficult. She does have a few moves that are a bit kind of BS with like filling up the whole arena and stuff like that. She also does have a shield, but we managed to get that shield spell once we beat her. And it's amazing, so I would usually recommend putting that in your repertoire once we beat her. But as you can see, this is kind of how she works. She is a normal humanoid boss fight, so she can be backstabbed, which is good, because there's a lot of opportunities to do that, where she does Honglang's move, where she jumps up and fires the feathers. She also does like flame that you can get behind her. She is quite slender, so it is quite tough to get behind her sometimes, and sometimes she will just completely negate the backstab like she did there. But for the most part, she'll just use a bunch of spells. You just want to try and stay close to her. When she rises up into the air and does her big sword thing, you can outrange it, but the final hit of it you will either tank or you'll have to dodge at the last second, which is this move right here. So when she backs up and starts glowing purple, this is when she's going to do that big sword move. So you can either back up or you can try and dodge through all the attacks. I've done that a few times, but most of the time you'll end up taking a bunch of damage. So this sword thing here, it'll start pulsing. If you were close to that, you'd be taking damage, but this final hit will always hit you no matter where you are, unless you dodge. So once you've done that, run in, do more attacks. She'll keep repeating that throughout the fight. She'll also try and put up a shield, which is the shield that we can actually use later. So just so you can see when she puts up the shield, I did manage to backstab her there, but then once she puts this up, she's pretty much invulnerable to damage. Unless you break it. She can take a little bit of damage, but you're not going to really kill her when she's got the shield on. And this sword attack can be kind of annoying to deal with. So just light attack her until the shield breaks. You can't backstab her while she's doing this either. I'm not sure if magic breaks it. But yeah, she's very annoying when she has the shield on. But like I said, the good thing is we get the shield when we beat her. Not on this ending though, because we're going to be reverting this save. So a couple more hits. I don't know how that crippled her, considering that wasn't a back attack. So there we go, we got defeat the Bow Magus, and we also got the successor of Bow Ending. So now that we've done that, we don't need to actually rest anything or anything like this. If you go and quit the game, and we're going to revert the save so we have the previous save. So just to show you, completely close the game, go to settings, go to save data, and then download instead of upload. So we're going to download the save to the console, and we'll be at the same point just before the Bow Magus. So yeah, download. And then we're going to do the opposite choice with the storyteller, so we can do like a completely different ending. So back to the storyteller, we're going to ask him what kind of favor, same as before. I do not. The bow people. And then we're going to agree this time, and he'll give you a spell, the polygonal container. This makes it so the game doesn't end at the Bow Magus boss fight. So now we need to go beat her a second time, but this time really for the first time. But since this is the save we're going to actually continue on, we're going to actually pick up the collectibles along the way. So teleport to the palace shrine. So palace entrance shrine, and we're going to head up this bit right here. There's going to be a big mouth in the ground, and this thing will attack you. It's quite powerful, but with the fire build, you can usually nuke it pretty quick. There's going to be an axe behind here. It's a gilded axe. It's not actually a weapon, it's an item that you give to Wuchang, so you can buy stuff. There is also a spell in this area called Spiritual Flames if you really want it. It's a crap spell, so I wouldn't really bother going for that. So once you've beat this thing and picked up the gilded axe, just going to let you see how this enemy works. There you go. So that thing's dead. The item's over here. Grab this. If you want to continue along this path and get the spell, go for it. But head back to the actual shrine. Then from the shrine we're going to head down like we did before. But we're not going to drop directly with the ladder. So we're going to go to the side here. And then we're going to continue round a little bit. You can ignore most of the enemies. We don't need to kill them. So if we go up the slope that we just passed. I'm just checking out this area just to make sure there's nothing here. Ignore the enemies. They won't attack you just now because they're praying to the Bow Magus. So up here. And then if we go to this part here at the edge. And then drop down, we should be able to drop down onto the ledge where we can get the Forgotten Remembrance. So over to the edge, very far edge, and then drop down. There you go. Open that up, and then you can drop down again and go fight the Bow Magus again. There you go. Once you've beaten her again, you get the Echo of Bow Magus, so make sure that you use that spell. It's basically the shield that she was using, so make sure to use that a lot. It's very good for bosses. So rest at the shrine here. So now we travel back to Shu Sanctum, and we're going to get some Forgotten Remembrance and a Bamboozling. Then we go out the front of the temple, and we're going to go across the invisible bridge. So if you just run all the way down here, you'll see a big bird enemy. If you run to the right hand side, you'll cross the invisible bridge. Like I said, you should remember what this area sort of looks like. And if you continue down here, there'll be a house that we can go into. Like a broken down house. This will be where another Forgotten Remembrance mana base upgrade is. So it should be here on the right hand side, up here a little bit. Yep. So up this slope, right hand side, up here. So once you go up that slope next to these guys, that'll be where the Forgotten Remembrance is. In a big chest, you can't miss it. There it is. So make sure you kill the enemies. Like I said, don't open chests while there's enemies around. Now we've got that, we're going to continue on a little bit. Sorry if you can hear me talking in the background a little bit as well. I was sort of semi-streaming this playthrough for my Discord members. So we're going to go down kind of to the way that we opened up the shortcut beforehand in the area. So if we run down here, run to the right, up the slope, there should be a bamboozling somewhere around here. There it is. So run after it there. There'll be a couple enemies fighting, but you should be able to kill this guy before he runs away. There we go. Then head down the path from where the bamboozling was. You'll find the corrupted version of the guy who was protecting that woman from the start of the game. The silent dude, essentially. He will drop a red mercury essence when he dies. But we're basically just going to go up to the shrine at Reverent Temple. So once we go up to the shrine here, you'll notice that the space behind it is now free. So you can actually travel through there. So once you've rested and done what you need to do, go behind here and you're going to see Fang Yao again. Speak to her. She will give you the research journal scrap and the Ring of Samsara cause. This is part of an ending item, so you need to make sure you do not use this. It says it can give you red mercury, but you don't use it at all. So make sure that she gives you the research journal scrap and the ring of Samsara. There is also a breakable jar here that has a longevity necklace inside of it. I think it's this thing here. And you've got the Wishborn pendant as well. So if you smash this little red jar next to her, I believe that's got the necklace inside of it. Not that one, the one next to her. There you go. So now we're going to go inside Reverend Temple. When you speak to her, you have the opportunity to give her an item. Doesn't really matter which one you give. So, it doesn't really matter. Imperial Guard token, she'll give a Radiant Red Feather. So you can always use that one if you want to. But nothing really crazy reward. On the second floor, in the corner, there'll be the Crimson Edge spell. Like I said, spells aren't required, but when you go up here, Crimson Edge should be somewhere in one of the corners. You'll be able to see it there. And then on the third floor, you'll see He Yuzhao. He has a Ring of Samsara as well, effect. So what you're going to do is you're going to speak to him, and you're going to say, you seem to have forgotten something. And then, once you've said that, once you spoke to him, hurry up, click, 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 click. There you go, seem to have forgotten something. Then, not really. Then, show research journal scrap. Then, what's wrong? And you'll receive the Ring of Samsara effect, which is part of an ending, so we need that. Well, what's wrong? And then you get the Ring of Samsara. There we go. So now you can backtrack to the shrine and fast travel to Annalum. You'll see Fang Yao's character icon here. She'll be behind a door in the temple in the middle of the courtyard. And you can talk to her. She refuses to go, it's fine. That's just the last interaction. And then what we're going to do is we're going to back up the save again. So travel to Annalum first. And just speak to her here just to end her quest line. The backup we're going to do is we're going to upload a save again. Sorry about all the uploading, but trust me, this is a lot easier than having to play the game 4 times in a row. So yeah, trust me, best way to do it. So once you've done that, if we rest at the shrine and then we're going to upload our data again. So same again, just in case anybody's technically not minded. Upload, so settings, save data, upload, and then we're just going to upload the save again. I believe this might be one of the last times we upload it. Don't take my word for it, but yeah, it's better to make sure we do this just so that we can get all these endings out of the way. So that is closed and we're uploading it. Whereas this is 4. So now that's uploaded, go to Reverend Temple again, go all the way to the top, and this is pretty much the area that we spawned in at the very start of the game. You'll see there's a path behind it now, and you'll see Zhuang Yangzi sitting here next to the shrine. What we're going to do is we're going to hand over the Jade Chisel so that this locks us into another bad ending, and then we're going to rest at the shrine. We don't back up our save or anything at this point because we're going to revert our save so we can do the other endings. So hand over the Jade Feather Chisel, and then rest at the shrine. Once we've rested at the shrine, run pretty much straight ahead in this next area, and you'll see this chest at the very end. Once you've opened that, there's a lot of enemies around, so just make sure you clear them out. So once you've opened that, that'll be another Lost Remains, and then you can go down this slope, past this, and the Plain Warrioress will be there, sitting outside the boss arena. So once you've exhausted her dialogue, you can go inside. You can also summon during this fight as well if you need to. So just use the whistle and you'll summon someone in. Then this boss, like I've said with other bosses, any of the big bosses, they're pretty easy. Big swipes, and the flame thing that we've got here does massive damage when it hits all of them. So as you look at that, like that wasn't even an attack, that was just the skill. So yeah, make sure you kill this guy. He does have 2 phases. This phase is literally just using like big swings and jumps and things like that. It doesn't do anything crazy. And he roars a few times, but if you've got that pendant on, he's not going to be able to stun you. So yeah, we've got Zhuang Yangzi coming in to help us. But once this phase is done, pretty easy phase. The next phase is the hard one. So always at the start of the fight, the boss will do this massive spirit bomb thing that he does. You can run towards it and try and dodge it, or just stay at a distance and wait for it to explode. The boss teleports around the arena quite a lot, and he has big massive swings. He can summon swords on the ground, he can summon lightning. He does this move where he will drain your health when you're standing next to him. He also has the orb in his hand will absorb magic. So if you try to throw magic at him, it'll just get absorbed into that. But yeah, this boss is pretty tough. Look how much damage you can do with his build though. Like, he's pretty much just below half health. We stagger him. I use the fire attack. I don't even need to stab him in the head. I just use the fire attack twice and he pretty much just dies. It's insane. That move that he was starting up there, that's the one where he absorbs health. So yeah, be careful of that. You can sometimes just power through it and knock him out of it. I wouldn't recommend it though. So once we've done that, we teleport to the capital entrance. And this is the shrine that we spawn in front of. Because this is the bad ending and we're not going to go for this one, we will be reverting our save. But because we don't need to explore and collect things because we're going to be reverting our save, we can just head straight for the boss. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn around from the shrine and we're going to go over here a little bit. We're going to go down to the right. This basically skips the entire like exploring of this area, which is very annoying to do. So when we get to that part of the guide, I'll explain it as easily as I can, hopefully. We're going to run down here. There's going to be a lift at the end. You're going to take the lift down. So you can ignore he, use out. Like I said, if I don't mention something, just ignore it. Go down the lift, and then we're going to run into this area. So if you run straight ahead into the area, the tree is in the middle, basically just behind us at this point. Run to the left-hand side, you'll run past all these metal guys and up the stairs. This is where you just want to run past everybody because we're just rushing this part. So run up here, press this pedestal thing. You're going to get a soul bird shard left, and then you're going to run across the tree that spawns. So now we've got the item, just run across these rocks. It'll run across the whole middle of the tree. We're essentially just going to the complete opposite side so we can get the soul bird right shard. This part of the ending is very quick. When you're not doing this ending, you have to explore a lot to get loads of different items and things. So yeah, just you can pick up a lustrous feather because you can upgrade your weapon probably to maximum at this point. So that white bird over there, we're going to run past him. Just keep running and dodging. This is the best way to do it at this point. I'm just going to leave this in here so you guys can see where I go, because this area can be quite confusing with how it looks. So we just run past this dude here, run up the slope, and immediately turn around at the top of the slope. Keep going. We're corrupted, but it doesn't really matter as long as we don't take too much damage. Just keep running, keep dodging, heal yourself if need be. Drop down here, run up this next slope. And then there you go. So that once you've done this, we're going to drop down in front of us. So run straight ahead and then drop down. And then you see this big thing attacking near the stairs. Run up these stairs next to it and run all the way up. Stand on the pedestal and use both of the sides and then run across all the rocks that spawn. This is essentially just a straight shot to the boss, so I'm not going to show you this entire part. You essentially run through this, you'll see a big white kind of spiritual looking area. There'll be a bunch of big enemies. You'll run up a few slopes and then you'll reach this shrine. Once you reach this shrine, we're going to run up the hill even further. There'll be a benediction gate. This will take us to the boss. You just kill the boss and then that'll give us another ending. So another great boss because it's big. Doesn't allow us to get any backstabs, but that's fine because when we manage to hit our fire move, when we're right next to it, we absolutely mince its HP. This boss does have a few big things to watch out for. When it jumps back to the main big part of the arena, it'll do a big waterfall thing where it'll send out like waves of water and it stuns you and does a lot of damage. It's this thing here, but I'm standing right next to it, so I just heal through it. You can heal through it if you want to. You can also use the shield if you need to use it, but once you've killed this boss, you'll get another ending out of the way. So once you beat the boss, just run up to this mark here, and then enter the stream of Samsara, and then press the next option, and that will give us the bad ending. The jar full of medicine ending. There you go. So jar full of medicine, that's another ending done. So now we're going to revert our save again, so just going to show you one more time. So go to settings, scroll down to save data, go to save data PS5, and download. Because we're downloading the save from previously before we gave the guy the chisel. So we need to go to Reverent Temple again, and when we get here we're going to remain silent. Then make sure you pick up the shrine again, and make sure you pick up the item that's at the end of this area, which was in the golden chest. So before you fight the boss, You're going to run through this area again, grab the chest, and then speak to the warrioress woman again, and then you're going to fight the big bloodborne looking dragon boss. Yeah, so do not forget this chest, because this hasn't been saved, remember. You need to make sure you pick this up. We don't have a friend this time around to help, but funny thing is, this was actually a first try even without a partner. This is the health drain move. You can heal through it, but I was just like, screw it, I'm just going to kill him. Yes. So yeah, there you go. So he's now dead, and we're going to teleport to the Bow Capital again. So when you spawn in, make sure to check these guys over on the left hand side, and then also rest at the shrine that's in front of you. Right, so these areas can be a little bit confusing, so I'm going to try and leave in as much as possible. So this is literally just from the shrine that we rested at. So we're going to keep to this area. You'll probably notice we ran past the area that we went down on the previous playthrough. So just keep running. This enemy will get up and try and murder you. Just run up this area. We're essentially waiting until we get to an area where there's loads of like worshippers, and we're going to use worship on something to get another jade pendant. So just keep running. We'll eventually make it there. Keep going, past this area, up the stairs to the right, past here, and you should see this red-eyed enemy. So you can kill this guy, and then we're going to use the worship thing on the item in front of him. So after using the worship emote, we get the Nameless Eye pendant. Then we're going to run back to the shrine, or you can teleport, or you can kill yourself, whatever you want to do. This is just so we can speak to He Yu Zhao again. So turn around from the shrine, and we're going to go down the same place that we went down previously on the previous playthrough. So we're going to run down here, and we're actually going to speak to He Yu Zhao this time and give him the belled pinwheel. So once you get down to this lift again, he'll be sitting at the side. I don't think this is needed for anything, but I just did it just to get it out of the way. So you just say, it's me, Wuchang. He gives you the belled pinwheel once you do the 3 dots. And that is actually an emote, so use the belled pinwheel on this thing, and it will give you like an echo of your sister talking to you. Not 100% needed, but what we're going to do is we're going to go down the elevator again. So down the lift, we're doing it a little bit differently this time. We're going to go actually onto the tree first, because we want the lustrous red feather and the avian tear, which is 100,000 mercury. So the lustrous feather you probably picked up beforehand. So it's not here, you need to run around a little bit more. And there we go. The run up here and we'll get the red feather and the tear. And then we're going to run to the left hand side where the soulbird shard was. So we're going to get the soulbird shard 1. So this should be the lustrous feather and the tear, yep. So we're going to run over to the left hand side, air quotes, because the left hand side is now the right hand side. So if you run over this way, just drop down. Try not to kill yourself. So run over this way. I'm going to try and leave as much in here as possible because these areas can be really confusing. So we're going to run over here and get the soulbird shard left side. And we're not going to do the same thing we did before. We're going to grab this and then we're going to drop down. So once you've grabbed this, if you turn your back and go down this way, there should be a benediction gate nearby. Should be able to see it from here, I believe. Big enemy. So you can kill him, just get him out of the way. So from looking at the big flower thing, this is after you kill the enemy. So you don't actually need to fight it, really. The benediction gate will open, and you'll get the bloodward benediction. I think it's quite good. I don't really use it myself, but I'm pretty sure it's good. And then we're going to get the item, which is called the giant bronze arrow. This is another Wuchang item. So this Wuchang item is really hard to see. The white bird's on the right hand side. We're going to be going to this right hand side in a second. This is where it is, so it's quite hard to see on the floor. So grab that and then head to the right where that bird is. And we're going to do the same thing we did before. We're going to run through the whole area and we're going to grab the soul bird shard right. I already showed you how to do that before, so we're going to run up here, run up the slope, drop down another slope, run up, etc. So you ran up, you ran along, and then you got to drop down, and then the soul bird right thing will be here. So now that we've grabbed both of these, we're going to backtrack to the very first shrine. So just make your way back up the lift, etc. Or you can kill yourself or teleport back with the item that's in your inventory. It will cause you to lose all your red mercury though. Okay, so this is where it gets really confusing. So I'm going to try and walk you through this part as much as possible. So from the shrine, we're just going to literally run around the corner and then run up here. We're going to pull the lever and this will trigger a bridge to spawn. It also turns off one of the heads that's shooting magic at you. So once you've done this, run across the bridge and we're going to start running up a series of slopes. There is only really one main way you can go here. So once you get to this massive staircase where the thing's shooting at you, you'll get to the top and there'll be another lever for you to turn it off. So once that's done, Keep going up the slopes, you'll eventually run to this thing here. This is a lift that takes you back down to the shrine, so if you need a shortcut, this is it. Just be careful because you can sometimes phase through the lift when you're going back up. So once you come back up here, so now that you've come back up the lift, or triggered the lift, it doesn't really matter if you go up and down. Run up here, there will be a bamboozling directly in front of you here. Kill this thing, and then continue upwards. Keep going up past a lot of enemies. So we're going to run past these two big guys here. I'm just going to show you this part. It's not too confusing, but just in case. So run past these Muppets. And then over this bridge here. There is going to be an enemy up here. I don't know if she can actually snipe you off of the elevator. This is where the magic head's shooting from as well. But what I do is I usually just run straight forward. So just keep going forward. There's a lift on the right hand side here, as you can see. So just keep dodging, go to the left. There we go. Thankfully, she doesn't shoot me. She just decides to run away. So once you go down here, warning, do not interact with the red riddle door at the shrine. So you're going to see a shrine and you're going to see a riddle door. Don't interact with it yet. We're going to back up our save one more time. So once you've either killed or ran past the big enemies, you'll see there is another big enemy right up above and a big open area to the right. Go left here. This is where the riddle door is. So what we're going to do is we're going to rest at the shrine. So trigger the shrine, and then we're going to upload our save one more time. I think this is probably the last time we do it. So same again, settings, save data, upload, and then upload your save. And then jump back into the game. We're just making these saves to make it a lot easier. So when you speak to the door, you're going to say the grand dream fades. This is the correct answer, and this should unlock the sage trophy. So once you go in here, you'll get a lustrous red feather and blood vigor from the boatman if you talk to him. If you can grab the items from him and then increase your weapon, I would do that just now to maximum because there is a trophy for that. But what we're going to do is we're going to actually revert the save straight away because that is the only thing we need for the riddles. So we're going to go and download the save this time because we just uploaded it just to get the sage trophy. So we're going to download the save and then load it back up. There is one thing we need to do before we interact with the door and do the wrong answer. So this is the secret boss that we've been working towards this entire time. So once we're back into the game, I'll show you. So what we're going to do is we're going to teleport to the avian dwelling. This is going to be a secret boss, a very, very difficult secret boss. I'm not really going to explain how to beat them. They're a humanoid enemy, they have back attacks, and you can parry them and things like that. I'll leave a link down below to one of my previous videos with them to make it a bit easier. Because if you use dual blades in a specific build against them, it's fairly easy. So at this point you should be able to upgrade your weapon to maximum. If you can't, then just go away and explore and get some other materials, or as we progress through the next part of the game you should be able to do it anyway, but just because you want the extra damage for this boss. So as you can see, we're running over the shortcut we created earlier. This is where the bamboozling was earlier as well, so we're going to run over here, and then as soon as we run into this next area we're going to be basically fighting the white robed elder. Like I said, I'm not going to show you the battle or anything like that. I'll leave a link down below to the video that I had which shows an easy way how to beat him, because he is a very tough boss, and if you're fighting him normally, you're probably going to be doing this a few attempts, but he's a fun boss to fight. So once you've beat him, there will be a thing you can rest at in the arena. So it spawns pretty much just over here where he was sitting initially. So you'll see it over here, it spawns, and you can also speak to him, I believe, and he should give you some items. You might have already got it from him dropping them after he died, but if you rest here, then he should spawn, and if you speak to him he should give you some items. So now what we're going to do, because you have to do this before you do this next part, otherwise it doesn't work, is we're going to teleport to the depths of the capital thing again, and we're going to give the wrong answer to the door this time. So this one is one where I didn't actually make a guide on how to beat this boss, but if we give it the wrong answer, the wheel turns anew. This will allow us to spawn into the next area where we have to actually fight the demon boss, the inner demon that we've been fighting this whole time, but they are a lot stronger. And this is where we get pretty much one of the ending items as well. There is also a shrine here where you can rest at, so we need to go in here, otherwise you can't get all the shrines. So once you progress around the corner, you'll see the shrine, rest here, and then the boss is literally just down the flight of stairs into the next arena. This is the Demon of Obsession boss, and they are absolutely ridiculously strong. I feel like they're just a bit over the top, like in terms of power. The fact they don't stagger, the fact they do like pretty much all your health with one attack, the fact you can't backstab them even though they're a humanoid enemy. This is what you would call a BS boss in terms of boss design. So I did this on like New Game Plus 4 and I had to use the cheese tactic with the axe to beat her. In this version I just beat her with a sword, but I will leave a link to the thing that I used down below. I don't actually have a guide on how to beat her with the axe because I didn't have the axe at this point, because I missed it at the start of the game. It's the Empyrean axe, which is the best item you want to use for her. If you plan on fighting her legit, you're probably just going to have to find out every single move that she does. And also use this shield quite a lot, because this shield is very well needed for this boss fight. Because as you can see, she can just obliterate the shield anyway. And she doesn't get staggered from back attacks. She doesn't really get staggered from when you increase her posture bar. Some of her moves can straight up one-shot you if you're close to her. Yeah, she's a bit of a crazy boss. But the Empyrean Axe tactic that I used, I'll link that in the comments down below, or in the actual description as well. So with this one, I'm just using the same thing that we've used the entire time and just trying to use the shield to my advantage, learn her moves a little bit, and then there we go. So I was kind of glad that I managed to do this without the cheese tactic this time, but I didn't mind using it when I was on New Game Plus 4 on the Xbox because that was just ridiculous. She's actually insane. So if you want to get a Blood of Wang Di, you can use the sacrifice emote on this little blue glowy thing here. When you continue through this area, there will be a bamboozling running away up the stairs. So as you run out of the area, this will be the stairs that lead up to the Samsara Ring area. Bamboozling number 19 should be here. If you've been following along, you should be at 19. I think I was probably at about 17 here. But like I said, if you've lost any of them, reload the game once you get to the ending and you can just get the first couple at the start. So keep running up the stairs. You will actually have to kill this enemy because this enemy drops a bronze piece, which is a quest item. And they'll also drop red mercury essence. They're not too difficult. It's one of those bosses where you can actually backstab them as well. And they do take decent damage from our fire weapon. But once they are dead, continue up to the top of the stairs and we'll use the sacrifice emote in front of the blue glowing point, which is just here before the Ring of Samsara rebirth thing. So if we use sacrifice, once the dialogue ends we get a Blood of Wang Di. This is the Ring of Samsara rebirth ending. With both the halves, what we're going to do is we're going to offer the Ring of Samsara and reform causality. Do not consume it from your inventory at all. This is for the endings. So now we're going to do some cleanup so we can get pretty much everything done at the same time. If we fast travel back to the depths of the capital shrine, as you turn around from the shrine and then exit left, you'll see the big bird demon that's up above. We need to kill this thing because there's a chest just below it, and obviously, like I said before, you don't want to try and open chests when there's enemies around. So light up your weapon with some fire, run up and just absolutely nuke the hell out of it. Once it's dead, open the chest and that'll be another forgotten remembrance. Then what we're going to do is we're going to interact with the lever that's directly in front of us here. So run straight ahead. I don't know why I'm looking around. Run straight ahead to the lever and use this lever. This will open up a bunch of doors. So from the lever, if you're facing it after beating the bird, run to the left hand side. There should be bamboozling number 23 here, and this will get you the trophy if you've been following along the whole way. If not, like I said, when you reload New Game Plus, you can just do it there. So just kill this thing. And then there's a benediction gate right behind this guy here. So once he's dead, open the benediction gate. We'll get blood force. And then we're going to run back to the lever that we just pulled. And we're going to go past it. We're going to go into this next room that has an elevator. Once we're at the top of this elevator path, we'll start getting shot at by the despair skulls. So what we're going to do is we're going to run up once we actually get onto the bridge. And then once you get up here, you should run to the right hand side. Try not to run off the edge. And this lever here will bring up some platforms basically directly in front of the lever. This will lead back down to an earlier area. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over these platforms. So from the lever, head down here and go to the left. Just ignore these guys, we don't need to fight them. You can if you really want to, but they don't drop anything. So if we run past this, as you can see, invisible bridge again, so just run all the way over here. And go right to find the benediction gate. There's a lot of enemies in here and things that drop down from the ceiling, so be careful not to die here. I somehow died as soon as I opened the benediction gate, but try not to do this. So you don't actually need to go through it, But when I came back through, it dropped a rock on top of me. And look how much health I'm on. Look how much this does to me. Insta death. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down the opposite side. So once you've opened that benediction gate, just run back the way you came. It is a very long trek, but it will eventually lead you down to this mimic. A red-eyed mimic thing that's down here. You see it over here? So it's a bit stronger than the mimics we fought before, so just make sure you kill that thing. And then once it is defeated, you'll get these drops, and you can use this to teleport back if you need to. What we need to do at this point, I wouldn't recommend teleporting back. We need to go back to the area where... Well, you could actually teleport back here, because we need to go to the shrine that leads us to the elevator that we came up here in the first place. So where we ran to that lever to pull. So we're going to go the opposite way, essentially. So if you can, go back to the shrine to make it easier. This is the elevator we came up before, where we ran to the right to turn the lever to spawn those platforms. So this time we're going to go the opposite direction. Which is this way, towards the skull. Just before the skull, go up the right path until you walk over a red root, so it should be here. Yep. And while on the red route, you drop down to the left. Dropping down leads to another lever, and this will disable the skull. So once you go over here, you can drop down there, but you're going to end up fighting enemies. So before these enemies here, drop down over to the left. And then you should see the lever in the distance over there. So drop down here. And turn off the skull, just so we can actually get places without getting shot. This also moves platforms to the dead end where the 3 big enemies are praying as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back up the path where we dropped down, but this time we're going to follow past the 3 enemies over the newly created bridge. So once you're back there and you've either killed or just ran past the enemies, go over the bridge that we just made. And this will be where the final benediction gate is, and the panda will be beside it as well. The panda now also sells a lustrous red feather for 5 bamboo shoots for the final weapon upgrade if you still need one. So you can open the benediction gate and speak to the panda at the same time. And once you've opened this last benediction gate as well, you will also get a trophy. Funny thing is, we also need to kind of go this way. So this is kind of the way we need to go in the first place. But this is the last benediction gate of the game, so it's good that we actually went through here. This part's only for a spell, but you might as well do it. So run into this area, and the storyteller NPC is going to be here again. So run up these routes and speak to him. You can summon him into the final boss if you speak to him here as well. So you say, who on earth are you? What is this place? Those shards. Unfinished business. And he gives you the golden scepter spell. I don't think I've ever used this spell. I wonder if it's any good. And then in the same benediction room, in front of where he sits, if you go down the path, so this path should be here. Yeah, just try not to fall to your death. Yeah, so directly in front of him, go down this path, and then to the left, and there should be the lost remains. I believe this is the last thing. So now what we're going to do is we're going to fast travel back to Annalum, and we're going to hand in every single item that we've picked up to Tai King and Wuchang, and this should give us the well-travelled in shop of plenty trophies. If you want, you can actually make it quicker by going over to the edge here and dropping off. This will take you down to an area that you probably know by now. Look how high we actually went up. So we ran past this area when we were doing the different endings and stuff, so the shrine should just be up here on the left as we climb up the stairs. So there you go. Go over to the shrine, and we're going to teleport to Annalum. Before teleporting, I decided to do this as well because I'd already filled out most of it. So, surging mana for purifying the mana vase, that's not fully upgraded yet. You need to do the other ones at the end and some other bits in between. So when you hand in the items to Wuchang and also Tai King or whatever his name is here, make sure you buy all the weapons. You don't need to buy all the spells or the benedictions, but make sure you buy all the weapons at least. So if you need extra mercury, just pop some of the red items just so you can buy them. But the trophies will pop when you give them the items that fill up their stores. So you should have every single item to give to them at this point. So once you've given them, you will unlock both trophies. I don't know why I don't have footage of the trophies popping, because I had them by this point. because they have everything for their stores, but make sure you buy all the weapons from him. If you have them already, just buy them anyway, just to make sure, but you can also buy the upgrade feathers if you need to upgrade your weapons as well. Also, make sure you buy any pendants that they have as well, because the pendants are part of a trophy. So we're in the end game of the platinum now, so we teleport back to the capital entrance, go down the same way that we went down with one of the previous endings. You're going to run past all the enemies in the next area because we don't need to fight them, and we've already got the left and the right side of the Soulbirds. So run through the big tree area. When you get to the shrine at the very end, just make sure you've upgraded everything, that you've upgraded your weapon to maximum, you've upgraded the flask, healing potential, and how many you have, because that's 2 trophies. So we're going to use the symbols here, the left and the right Soulbird shards, to open the gate. Like I said before, I'm not going to show this area because it's a straight shot to the boss. So you're going to rest here at the Bow Capital, the Forbidden Lands shrine. We're going to get the damage token on the path leading up to the door. And then we're going to fight Zhuang Yangzi again, Feathery Ambition. And after we kill this boss, we do not do anything. Okay? So once you kill this boss, just stop. But before we go anywhere, I'm going to show you me upgrading the flask to full. So mana capacity, overflowing mana, there we go. So make sure you do all this before you go into this boss. Upgrade your weapon, upgrade your flask. So as I mentioned, you can actually summon in this fight. You can summon the little storyteller guy, and he is actually quite helpful. But then once you kill this boss, you should get the trophy for all the pendants, because he drops one of the pendants. There you go. It's actually a really good pendant, but when you're not doing New Game Plus, it doesn't really matter. So once that's done, now, do not interact with the gate. What we're going to do is we're going to rest at this shrine that spawns, which will give us this trophy for actually activating all the shrines, because this is the last one. There you go. Then we're going to back up our save again. So I promise this is the last time we're actually going to upload it. We're going to download it one more time, but here we're going to upload it. So save data, upload to the cloud. And this is how we do 2 different endings here without having to redo the entire thing again. So click on it, upload, make sure it's upload, do not download. So upload. And once that's done, let's jump back into the game. Okay, so we're going to click on the gate and it's going to say enter the realm of dreams and no turning back. And this is going to give us the dreams sweet deceit. This is actually the true best ending, so if you wanted to see what the true best ending would be, you can watch the cutscene and everything, but it will trigger the trophy. And then as soon as it triggers the trophy, we're going to download the save from the cloud. So there you go, trophy triggered. So now we can just quit out the game and then download our save. So one last time, just to show you just for good measure. So save data, download. So we're going to download the save and we're going to do the final ending. And then we consume the ring and interact with the gate. So now that we've reloaded the save, open your inventory and consume the ring that we made, which is the Ring of Samsara, the thing that looks like an infinity symbol. And once you've done that, now interact with the gate again, and this time it will say enter the realm of truth, and it will unlock the final ending. So enter the realm of truth, no turning back. And this will be the final ending, and if you followed this guide to a T, you should have the platinum by the end of this, without having to do 3 other playthroughs, without having to check that you've found every single bamboozling or every other weapon. You should have everything by this point and you should have the platinum. The reason I don't is because I missed a weapon at the very start of the game, which I showed you. It was the one on the rooftop, and I think I missed like 2 bamboozlings. But this should be the trophy that triggers here. So bound by fate's threads. And as you can see, proof here, the bamboozlings are cumulative, because this is a bamboozling near the start of the game. So once I had that done, I knew where the weapon I had missed was, I picked it up, and I got the platinum. But this is probably going to be one of the longest guides I've ever made, guys. If it has been helpful and you got the platinum on your first playthrough, please let me know. If you're on mobile, hype the video. If you like guides and things like that, like the video please, it really does help a lot. Subscribe to the channel if you like things like this, or platinum videos, etc. I really do hope it has been helpful. Thank you so much for watching, have a great day, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye bye!